All right, good morning. Another day of work here for me, but I'm going to get right into it. We got lots of stuff to cover today. There's a couple of administrative things. Oh, I was practicing my clips. Sorry about that. First of all, let's go through the schedule for today, in case you're wondering. Let's get past this if you want. So to get the schedule, rwxrob.tv/schedule. That'll pull up the schedule. And I don't have anything on the schedule right now. I'm going to go ahead and add something really quick. For right now, we're going to go till 11-ish, I guess. So we'll add a stream today. So JupyterHub and Kubernetes Learning Lab. And that's going to be, come on. We're going to go till 11 o'clock. So we'll go from, what was it, 8:31? We'll just say officially 9, but we'll say officially 9 a.m. It's going to take me a while to get going, so we'll do 9 a.m. to 3 hours. Should be till 11 o'clock. Specific day. I hate you can't put today. You have to go and click it, but whatever. Save changes, and we're going to add another one. So we're going to have the generic training one. So Kubernetes, cloud, co-learning, cloud native. Actually, I think this one's already on the calendar. Yep, it is. JupyterHub co-learning, cloud native from 12 to 3. So that's on the schedule today. That's what we're going to be working on. So the schedule is now updated. We got everything we need there. Stuff is all getting saved to playlists too, so you can go look at those. And I think that's all. So we can get ready to go. There's one other change, since we have a little bit of time to kill before we do this, that I need to do. I need to change the channel information really quickly to allow for music. So we're going to have a big thing in here when I talk about music. I'm going to go back to playing chill music during the times when I'm away. And so I don't know if anybody noticed, but I've been putting the chill out back on when I'm away. When I'm here, I'm not going to have music on. So I kind of was doing that before, and that wasn't really. And then I went back to not doing that because I wasn't streaming a lot. And so I wanted to be able to listen to music myself and just have no music. So yeah. I don't know if I even did a specific thing, and I can't remember. There's no music. Anyway, that music is at following Spotify. I listen to copyright free chill out music during the day while at work. But no promises. Sometimes I put on weird yoga music. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. That's pretty good. And no music during boost time for business. So, I think that's it. I don't think I need to change it anymore. I think I probably never changed it from taking the music off. One last thing though, I need to check the what the WTF this is section. Okay, 24-hour chat stream. Come on, chat. Current topic. Let's see. Look at the title. I'm muted when away. Okay, I'm muted when away, working, focusing. Otherwise, my mic is on if the camera isn't. Being muted means that there is no sound coming from the stream, coming from my mic. My mic, for better or worse. For more on Mutsumo's states of being blah, blah, blah. That means they're recording. All right. I think that won't confuse people. I've had a lot of people ask, where did the chill up go? But no, NVI is. Yeah, the BSD VI, the version of VI on BSD called NVI is the closest version to the original. It's, according to its byline, it says that it's bug for bug compatible with the original VI. BusyBox is missing a bunch of standard VI things. Yeah, it's not even as good. So, you know, not, you know what I'm talking about, right? NVI, not NVim. They're different. So, just so you know. Okay, so I hope that took. Maybe not. Maybe not. It took. All right. So again, this is work time. This is. I'm actually at work, getting paid here. So I always say that at the beginning of my stream when I'm at work, when I do co-working streams. NVI. The reason I tell you that is because when you have questions like which VI should I use, if I can answer it in a word, fine. If I have to spend a paragraph on it, then you're costing me and my employer money because I would have to make it up the extra time. So it's not that I'm trying to be mean or anything. I'm actually at work, so you wouldn't come through my cubicle and the fact that I'm even streaming is somewhat questionable, right? But I can stream stuff that I'm doing right now. There's nothing wrong with it. It's not inappropriate to stream because it's all stuff that is open and some days I'm not able to stream at all when I'm doing my daily chores at work and stuff like that because the work I do is extremely proprietary or something like that. But this work related to Kubernetes, JupyterHub Kubernetes is gonna work. So is wrong, right? So I'm gonna do that. Let me get my phone plugged in. I'm gonna take breaks on occasion here during the thing. This can be a 3 or 4 hour stream. I have to remind myself to take breaks, otherwise I'll stop doing the streaming as is. Normally I'm on the camera too. I don't know why I took my camera thing off. I guess it's fine. And yeah, we'll go down on this. Okay, so the first things first we need to do. Ouch, my chest is kind of sore today. I've been doing weightlifting. So how's it going, Shadow Slayer? So, I mean, you're welcome to chat and stuff. I'm not going to necessarily be able to look up, or I might ignore you. It just doesn't mean I'm ignoring you. It just means I'm doing work. Okay. So we've got our Zero Drupal lab. We got to kind of take stock of where we were. That's why I have this log thing. This is really helpful. I think you should have a log inside of all of your Learning Lab projects. A Learning Lab project, I did a video on it. You can go watch about it. But Learning Lab project is just the research necessary to get a task done. And I capture that in a versioned way so that I have an incremental insight into my learning so I can go back and see how I learned and what I did and the changes I made. And in the cloud native landscape, it's very important to do that, in my opinion, because there's just so many variables. There's so many different things that can change and little bits and pieces that have to work in order for, you can't just have one deliverable at the end that works. You need to know how you got to that thing that works, and you have some explanation for it. So that you can reproduce it, most importantly. I've already got all this working. This JupyterHub stuff was already working in dev, except for the template stuff. So just being able to reproduce it, and particularly with the RBAC rules, the policies and stuff, I found out that I was already, there was some things that I was missing that were done for me already in our development environment because they were related to cluster rules, and I had to go through them and add them, and I'm really glad I did because now I know what's up. I know what's up with those rules, and if I had to reproduce this for myself or others, I could without missing those steps. Just following the guide, Zero to JupyterHub, which is really good and linked in the repo and everything, is fine, but it's not particularly complete. It's missing a bunch of stuff that might be necessary for customization, which is what we're doing. So last we left, we have profile list. I think we might actually still be up at the moment. Let me try that. So I'm gonna go open up our. Yep, there it is. All right, so I need to go find it. I'll focus this. So this, yep, there it is. So here is leave site, yes. So this is our new thing. We know we come with some of the things just to summarize what we did yesterday. We used a couple images, standard images that were suggested by the profile list, single user profile list configuration Helm chart variable, which allows you to to put multiple images. This is all built into the Helm chart. Thank God. It was not in any Helm chart pre 1.01. So this is one of the reasons we went to 1.01 is because we wanted some of these cool things. And now we have it. We test the persistence by connecting to a different image. And as expected, it uses the PVC and PVC claim to maintain persistence for the home directory. So when I pull this up, you'll see there's still some files here. Those files are there even if I change servers. The way to change servers, you go to File, go to Hub with Control Panel, stop your server. You only get one server at a time. That was another discovery yesterday we made. That is a really big discovery, because I thought maybe they were going to be able to run more than one server at one time. No, per user, you get one server at a time at the end. Now that server can share mounted files and stuff with the others because of the volume claim. We do not have any NAS mount or any of that, which is something we eventually want to do. But you can see here we have a different version, and that's supported. Today we also kind of uncovered some of the requirements, the baseline requirements to make an image for JupyterHub, even though that is not documented anywhere I can find. We may go on a quest to find out what those criteria are. We were able to glean some of the criteria by the error messages, but they're not exhaustive by any means. So we might have to go look at that answer. That's something we at least need to put in the log for future if we don't do it today. So we need to be able to say definitively what definitively does an image need to work with Z2K, let's see, 0 to Kubernetes, K8, I think that's it. I don't know. This has got a name. It's got some sort of weird name, but to work with JupyterHub. We'll just put JupyterHub. So that's a question we still have on there. We have to answer that. We know because we know that the images have to be customized. This is super big question. That was a massive breakthrough yesterday. Because we know that, one of the things that I was kind of not really tasked with, but wanted to explore was the ability to say, let me go back, to pick an image by typing it in and say, I want this image of mine that I just barely uploaded into, where, and the problem with that is, and we actually had somebody, Black Mouse yesterday, was talking about having set this up for an environment, and it was really great. It's very, very, very insightful stuff. I really appreciate his input. His input was related to what, this, right? And we actually experienced a zombie situation where if you have an image, I'm not going to do it, but if you pull up an image that's not compatible with JupyterHub, it will not spawn, and it will put you into a zombie state where you don't have a server. So you also can't disconnect. So you'll go to disconnect from the server, and it'll say, sorry, you're in the middle of spawning one up. And you're like, what do I do? And so you have to just sit around and wait for the thing to leave. And Black Mouse reported that he created, or she created I don't know, they created a thing that would kill because it's running in the user namespace, which is you want, that would go ahead and kill it. Now, all of that is, when you're considering deploying this at scale for hundreds of thousands of users, you don't want to have, hundreds of users at least, you don't want to have a ton of zombie spawns that won't work, which means that the business decision to allow users to provide paths to their own images is in question at this point. Because at that point, now you're talking about potential massive support nightmare, because depending on the level of your users, you're going to have people that are going to be adding, you're going to have people that are going to be adding all kinds of stuff that they shouldn't. And they're going to try different things, and they're going to hose up their system. And who are they going to call? Not Ghostbusters. They're going to call you, and they're going to want to know what's up. They're going to want to know why it's not working, and they're going to give you crap over it. So let me just say that is a pretty poignant concern on my part about the path that we're going in. In fact, so much so I'm going to bring it up at my next status meeting, because it's not possible to do that. So in fact, I need to report some of this stuff. I should probably report it in the JupyterHub channel, just so that we can talk about it. I'd rather do that than have a meeting. Meetings are just such a pain in the butt. But this localized testing was able to bring that out. And I'm really glad we were able to identify that. So, what are the options, right? The options are that you must communicate to us that you want an image listed here. Well, what happens when we get 36 images? What happens when we have 200 images? What happens when we have 150 images? This interface with the whole pull down, select which image you want is going to kind of break down at some point. I don't know that this particular, we could probably change this template pretty easy, make it a pull down. That's not that hard. I do like that it has a field for descriptions. People are going to want to be able to pick their images. If we're going to force people to use a specific set of images, then I feel like it's important that they know, that sort of stuff. If we build standard images, another thing we could do is we could, users want to be able to pull in their stuff. Well, just mount it with GitHub, right? Just mount it in your home directory, put a GitHub repo in your home directory in your PVC, and you're good. Or mount your S drive, and then you have all the stuff that you need. You don't need to have all of this other stuff. So really the question is, what's the next priority, right? So we have a few priorities. Let's see which one is the best. So we know for a fact that we need to get really locked down solid. In fact, we probably will have to even write a guide for making your own and submitting your own image. Those images will have to be tested and vetted every time. So I'm going to put a conclusion here. Concluded that user images must be tested, vetted and tested. And that's not because of security issues. It could be, but it's more about just integrity. We are going to need to make sure that their image is not crap. There has to be some level of that, and I think that it doesn't necessarily have to come from our team, but it has to happen. That means we need a guide. So we're going to need to create guide for image creation and process for submission. And I don't know what that is. That depends on my business, the business needs. So that's kind of a conversation for offline. This is definitely needed. Okay, so we need to answer that question. And then we have to, is there a maximum number of images? I actually think even if we had 200 images here, I think scrolling through 200 images wouldn't be too bad. And I honestly, I don't know that people need that much more. I think concluded, we need to have the priority, concluded on, priority of mounting NAS. Okay. So that is actually probably the most important thing that we have to do besides making it run as the user, which both of those are things that we can do, but they have to be put into the image. So that customization cannot be done because you can't create a user account on an image without the image running. It has to be running in order to create the user account on there. Otherwise, you'd have to modify the image somehow. And the only way to do that is to pass in information into the image. I'm really glad I already did this stuff for my workspace containers. So that's where we're at. That's kind of stuff that is going to have to be done. Good morning. So these are serious priorities. This particular priority for me to work on is going to have to happen probably outside yeah. YouTube for the way it seems more. So this particular one, I might have to do offline because the way that we mount our GPFS is not something that I can do online or even emulate. I don't believe so. So this is some pretty hairy things to dive into today. I'm trying to establish which one's a higher priority. Um, Knowing what has to be in our image case. So we absolutely know. Um, uh, so I'm going to say it. We're going to say concluded that running as user ID will require customized images. There's just no way around that because I have to be able to create the user ID, and that has to happen from within the Linux running container and do that. So that's going to have to be an entry point thing. So it seems to me like the next big, chunk of learning and practice here is going to be around creating custom images for JupyterHub to run and vetting them and customizing them so that they do things that are outside the scope of a normal JupyterHub image. We already know that profile list works. I am making a decision here without having the full team help me make the decision about there will not be user provided images, period, because of all the things that we just talked about. So we can provide even a baseline for the submission, need to create base Docker file for base or sample, I guess, sample Docker file for custom images so people can use that. And I'm pretty much deciding on behalf of the team based on all the information I have that there will be no dial in, type your name of your image. That's not happening. Because why? Because nobody on the team understands at the current present moment that images must have certain things in them to even work. So that immediately puts creating images into a specialization field. And we're talking about, for the most part, people that are doing, Python development, stuff like that. How's it going here? Kubernetes and Red Hat Enterprise. You got the internship for it? Nice. Good job on that one. That'll be fun. Yeah, you're going to be doing OpenShift for everything. It's totally different. Yeah, just a little. We'll talk about that during training time later today if you're still up. Yeah, the difference between OpenShift, whether you should go into the Red Hat system or the vanilla sort of Kubernetes system. Yeah, I can't imagine. It's really fun. I'm really loving Kubernetes in general. I'm actually going to start using it a lot for my own work, and we're going to talk about that tonight, this afternoon. So I'm kind of avoiding. I kind of need to let this kind of simmer in my brain here for a second. This decision about where we go for the next 3 hours, and my concern is that I'm making a decision that's kind of cowboy on my own on this, and I don't know if I need to check back with the group on it. I feel like what I want to do instead of that is get some progress on the decision to use the images and to provide a customization standard for the image. So I feel like the artifact for next Tuesday, my status meeting, should be a guide to creating a JupyterHub image. I think that should be the artifact. So, okay, so a deliverable, whatever you want. Create guide. So I'm just going to put artifact here as just a note convention. An artifact is something that comes out. It's business will talk. The artifacts are the things that come out of your project, and then they're also sometimes called deliverables. They're the semi-tangible things that you conclude that you make. So I feel like by the end of the 3 hours today, and I'm going to go refill my coffee and just kind of sit on this for about 2 minutes before I do it, because I don't want to waste time. I want to be clear in my time decision here. So, create guide. We need a guide for the image creation process, and I can draw the guide from my log. So what I'll do is we'll go through and we'll actually create an image using Docker, using not the Docker desktop application or even the Docker installed from the script in Linux, but using the embedded Docker container runtime inside of Minikube, which is something I've never done before. So this kind of, kind of dovetails into the training about how to use Minikube, which I find extremely compelling. So far, I've really been enjoying using Minikube far more than Kind. Kind has very specific, awesome applications as well. Again, let me just tell you the difference between Kind and Minikube. In Kind, you have a Docker container. You have a container image engine, and you run Kubernetes inside of that. So your control plane is running inside of containers within your engine. And in Minikube, you have a virtual machine. Inside of the virtual machine is a container runtime, as is included in any node. And so that virtual machine is both a control plane and also a worker node combined into one. So it's as if you took, normally you'd have at least one computer for the worker node and one computer for the worker node and one computer for the control plane, or more, right? So usually there's at least two computers there. And in the case of Minikube, they've combined into what's called a single node virtual machine, which is closer in every way to an actual Kubernetes deployment. And then within that, they have a container runtime, as is required by any node. Any node or any control plane machine inside of Kubernetes is required to have a container runtime, in our case, Docker. You can actually set what runtime to do in Minikube. So the thing that I haven't done yet is I haven't used the embedded Minikube Docker in there. Minikube is actually set up to export variables and stuff. So using Minikube is actually a better solution if you have Windows. This recently come up because of problems I had because Docker Desktop is now, you have to pay for it if you use it for work in any way. You have to subscribe. It's not that big a subscription, but that was the first time I learned it was FOSS. It wasn't FOSS. It was proprietary software. I'm like, I want to use that. So then I learned just through research and being shown search results that Minikube fulfills Docker. When you install Minikube on Windows or Mac, you get Docker for free. And this is all coming up because we're going to be talking about building custom images for JupyterHub that are compliant with JupyterHub requirements, whatever they are. We're going to research what those requirements are. And then we're going to go ahead and make an image by writing a Docker file. And we're going to use the Docker embedded, the engine embedded in the single node Minikube cluster. So that's the scope of work for the following 2 hours, and that's what I'm going to be doing. So, yeah, I wrote. I've been talking about Minikube and Kind a lot. YouTubers, I see Kevin is there. I actually really like both of them, but just kind of, I hope I articulated well. Make sure if you have any questions remaining in regard to what I just said, let me know. But I'm going to be making I already have made a couple of videos about Minikube and why it's better than Kind for some particular things. It's definitely better for training, and it also has a lot of things that Kind doesn't have. Really astute, smart people keep recommending Kind to me, and I have different needs. One of those needs is that I want to be able to run on Windows without installing Linux because my job doesn't allow me to put Linux on there. Right? Most of the people that recommend Kind almost immediately are assuming I have Linux installed. And that works great if you're going to do that, but it's horrible. You know what else it doesn't do? This is the other thing. So Minikube uses, I'm going to go through, I'm going to itemize all these. I'm not going to do right now. This is more of a training thing. I don't want to spend any more work time on it. So I'm going to go refill my coffee. I'll be right back. interesting. You seeing this? It looks like there's a post lifecycle hook, which means code that runs. Oh wow, this might be the answer. Might be it. This might be the answer because this is stuff that runs. This is stuff that runs after. This means I might be able to do it without running a custom. This is super important. I got to get my head around this before we do anything else. So this is really important. This is code that runs after the image has been created. And it automatically pulls Git stuff. We have to read all about this. Yeah, all this is being said on YouTube. It always is. Yep. This is under the Zero JupyterHub playlist on YouTube. So this allows you to select from 3 protocols, each with their own environment, defined with a Docker image. We got to read more. I got to read all about post start. Defined by each Docker image and configuration by the learning data science environment. An example overrides the post start lifecycle hook. Note that when using kubespawn override, the values must be in the format that comply. Minikube. I think it's etcd. No. SQLite. No. I think micro Kubernetes is the one that uses SQLite. We can find out this afternoon though. So yeah, no Linux Wampum. But the reason I like Minikube again is because it is the closest emulation of a Kubernetes environment possible. Because it's in machine. It's a little bit annoying in how it takes a little bit more time to start up and stuff, but it's an actual machine. That means it has its own network. It's, it's on its own, it's kind of an own machine on your internal network, sort of, so to speak. And in every sense, that is your work corresponds to stuff you would do. It does some magic with the ingress and URL and stuff for services by auto detecting and mounting that stuff, exposing it anyway. But that's fine. So, okay, so this says the learning data science environments in the above example overwrites the post start lifecycle hook. Note that when using Kubernetes kubespawner override, the values must be in the format that comply with kubespawner configuration, except for you have to change the name. For instance, when overriding the lifecycle hooks in kubespawner override, the configuration is for lifecycle underscore hook snake case rather than lifecycle hooks camel case, which is how it is used directly under the single user configuration section. For an explanation that can be found in the GitHub issue. Note, you can also control the HTML used for the profile selection page. Okay, so this is where I'm getting at. So if you have more than 10,000 different image profiles, and you can let them change that. At one point too, it was kind of requested of me to consider allowing people to use a different identity ID for this kind of thing. Those are all customizations that can come that we know are here. So we're just kind of exploring this space. I don't want to get too far down the customized template thing because we now know that images have specific requirements as far as we know. This post lifecycle hook stuff is not going to get you around the fact that you still have to put the base requirements for an image. We learned that yesterday. You cannot just put an Ubuntu image and put a post lifecycle hook in there and have it work. It doesn't work because there's certain components and pieces that have to be in the image. So we cannot escape the necessity to document how to make a JupyterHub compatible image. We can't get around it. No amount of template customization is going to remove end users being developers with their own images from doing that. They're going to have to do it. So we have to do that work no matter what. We can't even consider, in fact, I have a user that I'm going to have to get back with who actually submitted an image, and now I know that the image absolutely won't work. And I said, could you please prepare an image to see if it'll work? And this particular user had no clue what to do about what to add to the image. It's not a problem. It's just a question of like, well, how do you do it? And until yesterday, I didn't know it was even needed. You need to do customization. I still don't know what those customizations are. We're going to find those out today. So they have nothing to do with the template. All this stuff about creating images is a priority above template customization. Template customization isn't really a thing until you have either too many templates to display on the screen at the same time. You want to organize your templates in some sense, but maybe you have a naming convention or something like that, and you want to say, okay, these templates go with this group and these templates go with this group. I mean, if you want to do that, those are all sort of ancillary to the main thing, which is in secondary to we've got to have images that work. See the cube spawner, but I still want to get my head around this post-start lifecycle hook. So the thing that really blows me away is that, I mean, you guys, it's confusing as hell. They made this big deal about snake case versus non-snake case, and then they write this, and then under cube spawner overrides, they have lifecycle hooks, and then they do post-start with a capital S. Like, well, you just made a big deal. So the only thing I can conclude from that is that post-start is a Helm chart thing, and that lifecycle hooks is a thing from that's not, right? So I feel like the next experiment needs to be attempting to do a lifecycle hook just to see what it looks like and to get one to work. We must understand how lifecycle hooks work. This is going to be the thing that ultimately is going to allow me to change user IDs. We'll still keep the Jovian user account ID on there. That's not going to go away. But if they do provide their own ID, if they want to say, we could actually put a toggle in the template and say, do you want to use the default Jovian thing, or do you want to use your ID? Do you want to create a new user ID? And if they click on create a new user ID, then in the template we should be triggering this particular thing here. But I'd have to fetch input on that, so that'd be kind of harder to do. I don't know, we'll see. So, I mean, another way to get around that, so we wouldn't have to parse the input from the user, would be to just make different profiles that do that, and then we would say, we would have like whatever, a Spark notebook as user. You know what I mean? That's a simple, easy way to pull it off. It's not as pretty, but that would easily work without providing any additional user input. Unless we put it into the JavaScript, which we could easily do as well. I could write JavaScript to marry that so that the requested URL would be changed. The requested value would be changed based on that. And that would be the way to go. That could be the way to go. And that could happen before we submitted it. That would just be a little JavaScript snippet inside of the template. And I imagine we can embed some JavaScript in there. All right. So, I mean, that kind of customization can get hairy. So, post start exec command sh. So I do like this. This is a good example. It's like, hey, I'm going to pull down your development environment using git puller, which is built in. It's a built-in thing. This allows users to select from 3 profiles. I don't know how you're gonna be able to do that though without the identifier though, the ID. I mean, this is gonna probably just be a public pull. It is. It's absolutely a public pull. It's not gonna allow them to make changes to it. But they're just doing testing, so I imagine some people are gonna want to be able to do more than just testing on that. Yeah, this is all work stuff. Mini versus micro, yeah. Any other questions? No. All right. So that's all the information we have now. That's not a lot of extra information, to tell you the truth. And the GitHub issue for the stuff we don't really care about that. Profile form template configuration. You see the cube spawner configuration reference for more on this. Customizing with user resources. Deployment customizing user resources. This is what we really want. I'm going to go through and read this one a little bit. The Helm chart used for installer JupyterHub has a lot of options we can tweak. Semi-complete reference, blah, blah, blah. Yes, we know about this. That's it. That's it. Customizing user environment. That's what I want. User environment. Docker image built from a Docker file. This is probably going to have our constraints for the images. User environment is a set of software packages, environment variables, and various files that present when the user logs into JupyterHub. A Docker image built from a Docker file will lay the foundation for the environment provided with the user. The image will be, for example, will determine that Linux software, curl vim, programming stuff, blah, 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 and development environments are made available. To get started customizing, see the topics below. Choose an existing Docker image. Project Jupyter maintains the Jupyter Docker Stacks repository, which contains ready-to-use Docker images. Each image includes a set of commonly used science and data libraries tools. They provide excellent documentation on how to choose a suitable image. So let's pause about this. So one of the business decisions could be, the business design decisions here could be, thou shalt build an image based on one of the standard JupyterHub Docker images. That's a super easy way to punt and get around all of the work necessary to write up how to do that. Say, look, we're not going to teach you. I'm not going to tell you what has to be in your image. You just need to build your image based on one of these standard public images, right? There is a little bit of legal constraint there because we're not supposed to bring images directly from the internet into our environment and put them into our private repository because it bypasses all the legal checks to ensure that software being brought into the enterprise is legal and good. So we won't be able to recommend that, which I have a feeling is going to mean that we're going to have to vet this collection of JupyterHub Docker stacks, and we're going to have to vet that and create a copy of it internally, which we've done it before, so that it can pass all the legal hurdles that it has to have to be able to be included in approved software within the company. And that is the core of software within the company. So that would fall very solidly under legal jurisdiction for that. Each image includes a set of commonly used science and data libraries and tools. They also provide accurate documentation on how to choose a suitable image. If you wish to use another image from Jupyter, then the base notebook used by default, such as the data summary image containing useful information, complete these steps, modify your thing, and they're going to have you add tag latest single user image. So this is just telling you how to change your base image. We already know that. We don't know how to do that. If you have pre-pull or hook enabled, which we don't, so because it's all internal. Nope. The pre-pullers, by the way, cache the images on the node. They cache them in the container environment on the node so that if somebody else is going to use it, you only want to do that, by the way, if you know that you have just a kind of a Jupyter lab. I don't think it would be a good idea because you'd have all these nodes with different versions of yes, they would pop up fast and everything and not have to pull it. It would go faster, blah, blah, blah. But if you have a pretty fast internal network, letting the image get pulled every time as opposed to having a pre-puller on the nodes, because that daemon set is a pretty big deal. I mean, it has to run on every single node, and then they have a pre-puller which will automatically pull all the images, and they'll all take up container space on every node for the sake of having them pull up faster when users try to go to use it. That's a I think that they activate that by default, and I have to disable it. I've already disabled it by request, but that kind of stuff is going to eventually have to be, if you have a performance issue and users are complaining, then you can enable it, but it's enabled by default, so you have to turn it off if you don't want it. Use JupyterHub Lab by default. Jupyter Lab is a new user interface for Jupyter about to replace the classic user interface. We already have that. That's why I set it to Jupyter Lab. I already did that. One. Customize an existing Docker image. If you're missing something in the image that you'd like to add, yes, we recommend that you build a new image on top of an existing Docker image. Okay, that's what we were going to say. Below is an example of Docker file built on top of a minimal notebook image. This file can be built to a Docker image and pushed to the image registry and finally configured using Helm chart. Yep. Okay, we know all about that. That's nothing new. Oh, they give an example of a Docker file. All right, so build from the Jupyter minimal notebook, and then they're just laying on top of that. I think that's definitely the way to go, because here's why. If JupyterHub decides to change what they name stuff and the requirements to be in an image, they're going to simultaneously change their images. And I don't want to be playing catch up in my documentation for that by documenting every single thing that has to be there. So we're just going to say build from the standard image and go. And if somebody is a student, astute enough to figure that out, they can go ahead and do their own. So that's where we go. Run pip install. Ugh. Fucking hate pip. I hate pip. Python had like 3 different ways to deploy software up until like 5 years ago. They finally decided to use pip for distribution, and they're still at odds. There's still people fighting over the best way to distribute Python software. It's one of Python's greatest failures. That's why Go is taking so much, because software doesn't stay in one place anymore. In the container world, it's all over the place. So a single from scratch executable container always wins. And you don't get that. You don't get that with Python. It's one of the main reasons Python sucks today. So set environment variables. One way to affect user environments by setting environment variables. Well, you can set them up in your Docker image if you build it yourself. Yes. This I know. Single user editor Vim. You can set a number of static environment variables in the config.yaml. Really? Users can read the environment variable in the code in various ways. In Python, for example, the following code reads an environment variable. Yes. No shit. So that means we can pass some of the variables across. About user storage and adding files to it. This is the big one. It's important to understand the basics of how the user storage is set. By default, each user gets 10 gig. Persisted between restarts. The hard drive, we found that out. This hard drive will be mounted in the home directory. In practice, this means that everything it writes to the home directory, home Jovian, will remain, and everything else will be reset in between server restarts. See, what I would like to do is, and it's probably kind of going too far, but I would actually like to mount the user's remote drive, NAS drive, as their home directory, because that's more likely to be what they're going to want. And everything else will be reset between servers. A server can be shut down by culling. By default, JupyterHub's culling service is configured to cull a user server that has been inactive for 1 hour. Note that JupyterHub will auto-save files as long as the file was within the user's home directory. No work is lost. Okay, good. Note, in Kubernetes, persistent volume, the hard drive, kube spawner, persistent volume claim. Yes. Home directory, yes. To make these contents visible to the user, you must pre-populate the user's file system. To do so would be commands and config YAML. Yeah, we're not going to do that. That's where the post start comes in. So if you want to pull in files, you could git pull there a particular. We could set it up so that there's 2 ways to do this. You could either mount storage, scratch storage, or you could pull. I'm going to put that as a log entry. Should we pull from Git? Should we pull from Git or mount /s for tilde? So I need to ask the question about what direction we kind of want to go with this. So if we're going to have a custom user directory, I'm going to keep Jovian on there no matter what. I'm not going to mess with it because there's probably stuff that needs it. And we're going to add an additional account that matches the user that's in the user namespace. We have the Unix ID that matches, which is guaranteed to be unique across the enterprise. And this post start is how we're going to add it. So that's how we're going to add it. This is a command that's going to execute. This command could actually be, a relatively long script inside of the configuration rather than forcing a script to be there. I have to pull it down or curl it down or do something like that to get the latest. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to have to do a redeployment of the Helm chart just to update that script that runs. We might want to put that into Git or into a curlable place so that that script runs every time, and see, this is copying from source to target. There's a number of technical possibilities there. So I'm going to bring those all up. I'm ready to talk about them now. And let's keep going. So we have each element of the command needs to be from a separate home item in the list. So post start. So after the machine starts, it runs this. This is nice though, because this means we don't have to customize the image itself. We can do stuff that uses one of the standard images or uses the user's image, the home user's image, And then we can kind of standardize on what will happen in our environment after any image that's submitted is run. So, and frankly, the option for indicating an image from the command line is still, I mean, not from the command line, from the interface by typing it in, is still allowed, although I really feel like we need to make an API interface for that so that we can be aware of new image submissions and maybe catch them and vet them. I think that's a really important step, just to test them. Otherwise, we're gonna have tons of support nightmare, and they're gonna be leaving a bunch of zombie spawns and stuff all over because they're gonna try to run Ubuntu. It's not gonna work because they're gonna just skip past the docs and just go ahead and do it. So we need to kind of keep that safe. How's it going, Lowen? And so we'll see those files in their home directory. You can use commands like wget to place files where you like. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about. Not wget curl. Don't use wget. A simple way to populate the notebook user's home directory is to add the required files to the containers/temp directory. But if you do that, you're customizing a container and then copy them over. This is what I do. I actually have a, what is it? Slash, it's not temp, it's slash, putting stuff in slash temp is a bad idea because slash temp is supposed to be deletable. So you shouldn't put them there. You should put them in like var share or something. This is a bad recommendation. Do not do that. That is bad. Don't ever put anything in temp, container or otherwise, that you want to be persistent in any way. You know, and now I think they're doing that, and then you're going to delete the thing after it's gone. If that's what you're doing, fine. Maybe that's why they're using temp. I don't know. We'll assume the best. So Q doesn't work there, but I will answer it. We're doing JupyterHub stuff right now. Check the schedule, please. So I'm at work. Just happened to be streaming today while I work. This example shows use of multiple commands. So this is actually really useful. Lifecycle hooks post start exec. So a command sh-c. And this is cool because, as we said, this means I can actually write a rather involved script here in shell or bash. I would probably write mine in bash because you got a lot more power here. And we'll go from there. I like to on YouTube, there's no links on the description. YouTube has almost nothing because I can't automate it. It's too hard. Matt Dan agrees that putting stuff in temp is weird. You have to check the Twitch page for that. So rwxrob.tv will give you all the info about that. Even if you don't have a Twitch account, if you just go there, you can read the about and it'll give you the info you need. It's just the description in YouTube sucks, so it doesn't allow nearly as much customization. All right, so rwxrob.tv. Keep in mind that commands will be run. You know what? Actually, I need to probably start putting in my title because, let me do that really quick. I don't know if I can change it on the fly. Let me try. Because I just think that, that will help. That will help more. So, and then, I put it in the title. It should be in the title now on YouTube in case you get confused. I'm trying to help everybody not get confused. Keep in mind that commands will be run each time the user starts their server. For this reason, we recommend using the nb git puller to synchronize your user folders with a Git repository. I agree with that solution, but I don't know if that's going to work in an environment where we already have NAS. I think it could be dangerous. No, I already know the answer to this. Mounting the NAS drive automatically is a bad idea. So we need to probably sense a subdirectory. I'm kind of having a conclusion here. I'm going to write it down. So we need to be able to sense a subdirectory, sense a, /s/user/ JupyterHub, sense a directory. So if they have that directory, that will become their home directory. And actually, creating the user account is not even that hard now. Shit. I'm going to be able to do that today. What? Yeah, I can be able to do it with the standard image even. Holy shit, I might be able to finish this today. I just realized I might be able to finish this whole thing today. Yep. The mount of the S drive I won't be able to do, but the other stuff, actually I can. I just need to figure out what the command is to mount the S drive, and I don't know what it is. You know, I'm gonna put that out there. I think they have to have OAuth in order to do that, though. That's a tricky thing. So we need to be able to sense this directory, and if it is there, it will be used as a home directory. Otherwise, we will use the regular PVC for the home directory. So I like that. If absent, use PVC. I need to make that happen. That is hands down the most elegant way to do this. That would be the best way to do it. So that way, if they want their same home directory everywhere, this isn't forcing them to have. And that way, if they want to put their JupyterHub configuration in Git, that's up to them. Do you know what I mean? So if they want their S directory, if they want to pull down a copy of the Git repo and put it in JupyterHub directory, fine. If they just want a JupyterHub directory to be the directory and then just have it be, stored in GPFS or whatever, that's fine. And if it's detected, it'll get mounted as their home directory, and the user that they log in as will be that user instead of the Jovian user. Actually, or in addition to, because the Jovian account cannot go away. So we're going to be it's going to be post start commands that are going to be adding a new user and putting the user there, and then when they connect, they'll need to connect as that user, and they'll need to authenticate as that user. Which means when they do that, that means that we could actually use whatever the traditional authentication mechanisms are on that node, and I think it's all going to LDAP. But then when they authenticate to get to their LDAP and stuff, we could do all the mounting of that in that hook. That's totally the way to do this. That's going to be so cool. I cannot wait. They're going to freak out when we get that done. They're going to love that stuff. That's going to be really great. So yeah, oh God, I can't even think of anything else now. So and the reason I like that is because the Jovan stuff is still there, so we don't have to mess with that. So all we really have to do is add a toggle and say log in as you, or create user as you, or mount your S drive or whatever, and that will do it. We'll do all the mounting and stuff in there without having to customize the image. We can actually do this all on top of the existing image, provided it has all the mechanisms to talk to LDAP and everything, which it might not have. I might have that. I hope it does. I hope we don't have to, fuck around with the baseline images. I don't want to. I want to allow people to do that, but I don't want to have to force all the images to have our shit in them. Because then every time they come out with a new image, rather than just copying it over and getting approved and putting it into our private repo, I'll have to also tweak the image every time. Every single one will have to be tweaked in order to work in our environment. I would rather just use the baseline image and then have a script that is smart enough to adapt the image based on the users that are logging in. That's the way to go, because all that code can be controlled within, the Helm chart in our Git, and then that can be incrementally changed without messing at all with the images. And that way somebody finds an image outline, and I say, hey, I got this JupyterHub image, can I use it? Say, I don't know, get it checked out and put it in. And they're like, okay. And then somebody else is like, hey, I want this image, I got this customized version. Fine. As long as they understand that we're going to be doing the same things where we add the users to the end of each one of them. So that's some good work there. I'm happy to have worked through that. That's why I'm doing this, is I'm working through the suggestions I want to make going forward. So so control the HTML for the profile section. We talked about that. For the explanation, this can be found in the GitHub issue. All right, so that really, really changes my position on a lot of this stuff. I feel like did we reach the end of that? That's it for customization. That's all you're going to give us, huh? They're not going to tell us what to put in the image. They're like, just use one of ours. So yeah, see this is what they did. They're like, if you want to do an image, just do one of ours, add layers to it, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. So that's actually what I'm going to do today. I'm going to do that. I don't need to do that. That's not part of my core requirements. What is part of my core requirements now that we know how to get an image in there, just go get one of those images and then use it, extend it. And if they don't know how to use images and extend images, that's their problem. It's not mine. But I mean, that's something they can go learn. What is my problem is when they say, but I can't get to my files. How do I get to my files? And I really like this decision. I'm going to go back to it. I love the decision of this because then I don't have to set up JupyterHub or whatever. I can just say, look, you have network attached storage already. If you want your account to exist, God, this would be even better. Holy shit. Yeah, we can almost infer this automatically. We can almost say that would be the simplest possible thing. We can almost say, if you have an S-user JupyterHub directory, which we will sense, then your account will be created, have the Joven account, but you will be put into an account with that same name. So we can actually use the existence of this directory and then leave the template file alone. That would be like the holy grail of this whole effort. Because then the only thing I have to tell somebody who wants to have their own home directory and user ID is, if you want to run as your user ID, create a directory in your enterprise network attached storage called a JupyterHub. If you have that directory, anytime you use JupyterHub, it will automatically create an account for you on the system that matches your user ID, and it will use this as your home directory. The end. So we don't have to have any remember to click here to do this, right, or that. And then if somebody wants to use JupyterHub, because they only get one server at a time, that's really, 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 really important. One of the greatest discoveries I made through this whole thing is that anybody using JupyterHub only gets one running server image at a time, period. They can't use more than one. So we could make it so that if somebody came up to this JupyterHub thing here, they could create the JupyterHub directory, and then they could change the name of it, or they put a dot in front of it or some shit, right? And then they say, because they want to use just the baseline when they don't want to really do it. And that is something we might put a toggle on the TMP directory for. But for the most part, the easiest way to get to the end here is like, if you have the only catch on that is it's very possible somebody will already have a JupyterHub directory, right? So if somebody already has a JupyterHub directory because they're just putting their JupyterHub stuff in there, I would suggest it's probably Jupyter and not JupyterHub, right? So that would be a decision. It would be a business decision. So are you okay assuming that that's what people want? Because, I mean, it's all private and everything. So let's say I'm assuming worst case scenario here, somebody out there of our thousands of users has a JupyterHub directory inside of their S user directory, and they go to try out JupyterHub and their Jupyter Lab and hub through lab, and they click on it, and they notice that it mounts that directory, and like, I didn't expect that to be the home directory, right? And we're not going to be touching anything in there, but maybe their profile's screwed up, and like, hey, this thing doesn't work at all, and we have to tell them, well, that's because you have a JupyterHub directory. So what is the bigger problem? Was it, having them click through and get it all right, or have them make a custom image? I think it's gonna be fine. Even if that, maybe we could even change this name. We could have it be like some ridiculously not going to be, found kind of thing. We can have it be, JupyterHub home, something like that. I don't know. I don't know what we want to put it there, but you could put JupyterHub home. I mean, we could come up with something. I think just JupyterHub is going to be fine, because there's not going to be other people using JupyterHub. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ways we could do that. We could combine it with other things. So if I put, I mean, we could put home JupyterHub home. home. If we put JHub home, JHub, we could put, I mean, everybody's going to have to use it forever, so I got to make a good recommendation. I just like JupyterHub. No, we'll make it optional. Yeah. No, we don't want to make it optional because people will, I mean, come on, this is only if you log in. You have to be logged in as a user anyway. So, and we already have the user credentials. That's already a given. The other thing I need to do is I need to start pulling the user credentials out of the, that's all gonna be customization that goes into the cube spawner. Yeah. I mean, it's spawning into the user's namespace. But no, we already have that done already. Never mind. That's already done. So, God, we're very close to having this work. I'm super excited about this. Okay, so since directory, if it's this is going to be interesting. We gotta make this happen. We don't have to do any image because of customization. We already did that. Must be derived from standard ones. So that's a conclusion. We have to create a guide for the image creation process and form submission. We don't have to do that anymore. Nope. We just have to say, go follow the directions to make an image. That's it. We need to create a base sample Docker file for custom image. Don't have to do that. Already there. Removing work, which is awesome. Concluded that priority amount now. So this is now top priority. The top priority for me is the ability to use the post start hook to mount the network attached storage. That is really key, and adding an ID that matches that. That is perhaps the most important thing, because if I do this, then I automatically give them all of their stuff. I don't have to do git pulls or any of that shit, because again, they can make JupyterHub a copy of a git repo, or it can be an actual thing that's not a git repo. It's their choice. So it just simplifies the whole thing. But then it needs to be. I don't need that anymore. Don't need any of that. I've been slicing work all along here. This is really important. Should we get from git or mount? Yes. This is now super top priority, and it's going to be interesting. I know other people do it. Concluded running as user ID will require customized image. False. That is not true. That's not true. That concluded user ID will require a post start code. That's all. So we have post start. Post start just saved the day. Thank God for Helm 1.01. Can I just say, I'm just going to take a moment to reflect on the decision that I had to push hard for us to drop our pre-Helm 1.01 work completely and rebase based on the Helm 1.01. This post start hook was not available in any pre 1.01 Helm chart. So for the JupyterHub Kubernetes thing. And because it's available now, this is potentially going to save me tons of customization coding work, because now I can just provide a script that does, it would be a pretty long Helm chart config. I mean, I could even wget down or curl down the script and run it. And then whatever's in the script is the thing that runs. And then I don't even have to fuck with my charts. I can just keep that all in a Git repo, which is probably the thing to do, even though that's going to take an extra little step to pull that down. It's just one curl command to get it though. That's the way to do this. That's the way to do this. Because if I do that, then I can store the script that sets up the user and mounts the S drive. I can store that in a separate Git repo under our management that's versioned, and it won't have to touch the Helm chart. The Helm chart can stay, the same exact thing. I can have that Helm chart stored in our charts infrastructure repo, and I won't have to touch it, because anytime we need to make a change to what happens to the base image, any base image that gets booted up, as long as it's JupyterHub compatible, this script will run after it gets booted to do all of its setups and stuff. And as we miss things, like let's say I want to do this extra S drive, or I wanted to do some extra thing, I can just focus on the post start command hook, which is exactly what that is. It's a hook. It's almost like a webhook. And then we put our webhook code inside of Git and manage it independently, so we can pull that in at any time and make incremental changes with change sticks and stuff to that 100% do not touch the Helm chart. That's definitely the way to go on this. That's definitely the way to go on this. This is so fucking cool. I am so glad that I researched this, because that is a massive discovery. That this is a massive. This is not something I knew about before. I missed post start completely. I totally missed post start. So my effort now is going to be, honestly, the most important thing I have to finish today is get post start to pull a script using curl from a specified destination over HTTPS. That is the single most important thing I have to accomplish. Because if I can do that, all of the rest of the work about what needs to be mounted and everything and all those customizations can be done independently. Another thing about that is that your enterprise might be different than mine, right? So the solution I end up with in the lab will work. It will work because you just point the URL on the curl thing to some other thing, and now you have that thing run, and now you have a working lab that will work anywhere. It will work in any enterprise, no matter what your circumstance. You might just not even use it at all. But if you want to do customizations, you want to pull down Git, you put it in that script. Now, the difference between this and what Helm chart did, the Helm chart said, hey, if you want to put a whole, big long script in the Helm chart config files, values.yaml file, fine. But then you're like modifying that Helm chart all the time to deploy it differently. I don't want to do that. I want to separate it out, and I want to make that a separate version path and say, this is the post start command that runs after any image. And the only thing I have to tell my users is, this image, your images must be 100% compatible with the images from the standard JupyterHub. The end. It's up to you to go figure out how to do that. It's up to you to go to legal and make sure you can put them in our internal, Portis repo or Harbor or whatever. It's up to you to take care of all of that. And if you don't do that, you're going to get hosed, and you're going to end up with zombie processes, and then it will become part of our regular support responsibilities to come up with ways for them to kill that. It's all in their namespace, though. This is another reason to run in their user namespace, because they'll see that they have a running pod in their namespace, and they're like, oh, I just need to kill this. I mean, if they know about images enough, they should know how to kill the image in their pod. They should know how to do that. It's like one command. It's like the support docs on that are really simple to kill a zombie. So these discoveries have really caused me to kind of hone in on what the real thing that we need here is, and that is a webified curl hook URL to a Git repo that can, or a file, it doesn't even matter, it can just be a URL to a single script that's transferred over HTTPS, so it's secure, and that runs on any image, any new image. And we can make that one of two profile lists. Hell, if we do this, we can go back to providing, God, if we do this, we can go back to allowing them to type in the name of their image. We can do that because as long as the image fulfills the requirements, then we kill both of those. I don't have to go back and tell everybody we can't do that. You can't provide your own images. Now we can. Now we can say provide your own image, and then they can type in the name of the image, and that means modifying the template again, which means we're full circle back to modifying the template. So, at least my thought process has been recorded over the last 40 minutes about how to get to where we are. All of these changes have come about because of the discovery of the post start command. I am not going to even put this priority about mounting NAS. This question is irrelevant because it's now going to go into the script. The user images must be derived from standard images. Concluded running as a user ID will require post. No. Yes, it will actually. I'm going to say concluded that curl post start command most sustainable, because we can do whatever, right? So concluded that yes, we should alter template to allow entering image names to now image names. And then what we can do is we can have those image names be standard. You can pass them straight to it they can be just passed right in. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And then we have a standard, and we could probably have like, I don't know. We'll use profile list and that. I think we're going to use both. I think though, if you take over the template, so this is another question I have. Let's see. So I'm going to put user images must be derived from standard images. Running the ID will require post start. Most suitable. We should author template. So we need to figure out, let's see, does template customization blow out profile list? I have a feeling it does. Like if you do any template customization, I think the profile list is the template, and it already has that in there. And if you screw it up, you're gonna be. So I'm gonna keep this in here. Sense the JupyterHub directory if absent, use PVC. Actually, it's gonna use the PVC either way for the Jovian account, so we don't. That's not a thing. This is for to add a user. So keep Jovian. I just think there's too many things that could break if we don't. So keep Jovian user. Just add if custom user detected. Let's see. Detect custom user. Detect custom user if exists. And that so this is all work for let's see, is sustainable. Okay. Let's see, yes. When we put this, let's say post start dot command. It's the most sustainable. So Helm chart unaffected by post start script changes if curl. All right, so yeah, we should alter the template to allow image names. Yes, we absolutely should do that. And does the template customization blow up profile? So we need to figure that out. We're going to keep the Jovian user. Just add if custom user detected. So this all becomes work for the script. So yeah. So we have like 3 areas of work. So we have the template customization. We have the post start script. And we have the Helm chart. And we have the chart. So those are the main areas of work. I'm going to go ahead and number these. What the hell? So this is the main areas of work remaining. The post start script, and we have the chart. This is great because I can make new stories for this, user stories. Helm chart. So the template customization is kind of template customization related to that. It's kind of, it has to be in the Helm chart, but it's kind of a sub part of that. The post start script is a separate thing. Git repo, etc. And yeah, and we also have image names. Yes. So I'm going to put division of work. See, this is stuff that I could actually break up and assign to people if I had a team. I don't. So Just me. I mean, who knows? Maybe I could pull somebody in on this. Let's see who maybe would want to do it. I mean, these are pretty well encapsulated pieces of work, but they don't have any localized environment. This is why I'm doing this, because if somebody else wanted to work on this project, they'd have to localize. So they couldn't do any testing or anything, right? Yet another reason to keep a localized Minikube version as minimal as possible of the thing that you're working on, because I can't have a team working on all of these customizations on their own, because they would all have different versions. They'd all be in dev. They'd all step on each other. So people can give me, I'm a little bit tired of getting shit from people on my current team for not using most of the people that gave me shit over that are now gone. But the people who give me shit on that, that just bothers me, because how are you going to recreate the customizations at this level? If you're not, these people don't come from software design, by the way. They're not coming from software design development. They're coming from ops land, where they just fuck around with dev until it works, and then they get it to work, and they don't have nothing to show for it. They have no documentation of how they got there, and then they hand it off and say, it just works now. I'm like, I freaked the fuck out when they did that, because I'm like, I have no way to know how you got to where you are. I had a very controlled environment on purpose. And you might think I'm being pedantic and overly, focused on details about how we got here, but this is why. Because if you do this right, I could actually get to our deadline faster if I had two other people to help me, now that I've got the division of work outlined, if they were all using the same environment. If I could say, hey, here's the recreation of my Minikube environment, here's my cluster with the files, and I'll get to do this, I could say, here, go focus this down, copy this down, run your Minikube, run these scripts, and then boom, you got the same environment that I have. They can actually be working on the template customizations and the post-star scripts separate from me, because they would have an identical, independent environment. But when we all share the same dev environment, it blows the fuck up. And that's exactly what happened. The person went in there and tried to fix the thing I was working on, blew everything up that I was working on. So I could no longer do any work at all when I came in. It's like, hey, you got it now. It's your back. I'm giving it back to you. I'm like, yeah, but what the fuck did you do to my environment? I'm sorry. It's like, so, I don't care. You can give me shit all day for saying, well, just use the development cluster that's already there. You don't need any of this. You're wasting time. I'm not fucking wasting time. I'm creating value by being able to reproduce the results in a way that's documented. There, end of rant. Probably time for me to walk away, take a break. It just pisses me off. Because people think that recreatability for your in a customized environment in ops is have a shared dev environment, like a shared server with shared users. Absolutely. We have one dev cluster, and we're all supposed to be able to do everything in there. It's so fucking ass backwards. I can't even deal. There's no way. It's bad. It's bad. My SME knows it's bad that I report to for tech systems. It's just my, contracting firm. Everybody knows it's bad. They're trying to fix it, but they don't give a shit. And so when I don't hit deadlines or something, this particular person used to give me shit and shade all the time for taking too long to develop on this particular deliverable and thing. And I'm like, he's like, just do it in here, blah, 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 blah. And then when he finally does it, he destroys all the work I was doing, and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. And so it's like, I'm like just like pulling the rest of my hair out. So let just be a lesson to anybody who's out there. Okay. There's one, this is actually, so is it Jana? Yana, I think her name is. She's one of the most popular Twitter people in the cloud native space. So YouTube says, we avoided it by letting people launch small EC2 instances temporarily to Terraform and then tear them down, but it made it failure. That's actually a fantastic idea. And there's been many proposed ideas for being able to run your own cluster. But what hasn't been accepted yet into the powers that be, their brains, is that it's okay that you cannot do customizations. You cannot even test deployments of things like Helm upgrades and stuff unless you have a truly recreatable cluster. So this idea of an ephemeral container should, I think it should carry over to ephemeral clusters. I think that's the new form of doing everything. And this particular Twitter person was like, this is all really just software development, and it is. When you see all the different pieces and moving parts and everything and scripts they have to make in YAML configuration like that, when you're getting into Kubernetes infrastructure stuff, you can't just grab some ops person, even an SRE off the street who has coding ability, and say, go for it.
You need people who have solid software development practices in their brains. Because if you don't, you're going to be fucked. And I mean with a capital F fucked. Because you're going to go and you're going to deploy all this stuff. You're gonna have no way to recreate it. You have no idea what changed. And there's so many moving parts that deploying anything in Kubernetes, it's not just run this fucking Helm chart as I've demonstrated. It is software development. And if you don't treat your team that you're building to do Kubernetes management as software developers well beyond SREs, you will be fucked. Because your team will go in there and they'll do this thing and somebody will make this change over here and they'll make dumbass conclusions like, oh, we can all just use the same development cluster. No, you can't do that. That's like telling a team of software developers you should all use the same account on this remote server. That is exactly the same thing that you're telling them. That's what you're telling them. And it's bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. But you know why that thinking comes from? Because that's infrastructure thinking. Operations people have been doing this shit since the beginning of time. And so a software engineer like me comes into the house and says, wait, where the fuck is the process for this? And I'm like, what process? We don't have a process. This is an age-old dilemma when you have people that are doing operations stuff. What's today, Tiwi spill? So I just, I'm going to calm down now. I'm going to walk away. But this is one of the most annoying things in the cloud native world. Cloud native infrastructure engineering is software design and development. If you treat it as anything less than that, as some graduated SRE, which is, the recruiter that I use, he's an SRE guy. You will fail. You will fail. If you try to deploy a team of Kubernetes people who don't have solid development practices in their brain, you will fail. I promise you. I promise you. And I'm not going to say anything more about that. That's all I'm going to say. But this is a perfect example of this. If we had been managing this properly from the very beginning, and I get shade all the time by saying, why are you so focused on Minikube? Why are you fucking around with that? It has nothing to do with your deliverables. Well, but they're not saying that. They're making it apparent that they're thinking that. And I'm like, the reason is because we need to have recreatable. Don't feel bad for random. You spill valuable information. Either call or TikTok. Keep it passion. Yeah, thank you for that. But it's frustrating because I get shade from other operations people. It's like, well, why are you focusing so much on this private local development through Minikube? Just use the Illinois cluster. You're wasting time. And we got people needing things. And I'm like, this is why. Because you can't help me on my deliverable. Because why? Because you can't recreate the same situation I have right now. You'd have to make massive changes to the development environment, and you would have to do something else. We could collaborate probably a little bit, but for the most part, you need to be able to test other changes to the Helm chart configuration that are going to block what I'm doing and cause it to be bad. So we need to deal with this as if it were a software project and collaborate on those commits that are ultimately going to go into the Helm chart with all of its modifications. So that's how it should be done. It's also another reason not to use a fucking mono repo for every fucking Helm chart. We have a mono repo that's got like 80 Helm charts in it. It's the worst. Okay, I have to take a break. You guys, it's fine. It's all good. I'll see you in a bit. All right, I'm back. Don't worry, it's just decaf. They're like, Rob's gonna have a heart attack. I actually am not. I've been running. I'm getting healthy again. Yeah, yeah. I got a PR yesterday. You know, to get a lactate threshold is tough. I got to do that. I don't know when I'm going to do it. To get a lactate threshold, you have to run like 30 minutes at your fastest possible speed. It's a pain in the ass, literally. Coffee's awesome. Yeah, I've been ranting all morning. I mean, not at least the last 20 minutes. So, I love your suggestion there, Kovaninska Klukas from YouTube, letting people run their own EC2 instances in cloud. Yeah, and I don't mind saying that I think the industry trend right now is moving toward enabling cloud for individuals to build their own clusters and stuff. And I think Minikube is a part of that. But firing up a cloud instance is a thing. You do have an internet dependency, so I'm still going to be a big Minikube, not micro, proponent over that. As of this day, I haven't found a big argument against that. Yeah, whatever. Less caffeine, no caffeine. It's still very satisfying. All right, what is my priority? Let's go back to that. So this is the work I need to get done. How much time do I have? I'm only going till 11, right? Fuck, I might have to do some of this over the weekend. But I just saved myself a ton of work by doing this research. I really did. Now, some of it got added back, like the template customization. Let's take some low-hanging fruit here. So let's see if customizing the template throws out our profile list. That's a big decision. That's a big decision point. Okay, so let's figure that out. So does customizing, that was the original, does customizing the template dismiss, I guess, or replace the profile list? Yeah, I've got a question here about this. So we don't know that. Let's go figure that out. All right, so this is something we can probably do within an hour. So let's figure that out. That's a super big thing for me to know. Get rid of my links here, and I haven't done a lot of code today because we've been really focused on zooming in on what's important. We already know that we know that the Ubuntu image is bad. Wait, did I not deploy it with the new Ubuntu image? I guess not. So let's go ahead and do that. Apply. And we're going to take a look at that. My wife's phone's finally ringing. She just got in the shower. All right. So what do we have here? We've got, ouch. Come on, Hub, you can do it. As soon as this comes back, we're going to go ahead and take a look at probably get that ready at our terminal here. And this little thing should change. We're not restarting the cluster, so the ingress should stay the same. The sort of Minikube assisted ingress, which I don't think is even officially called an ingress. There, so our Ubuntu is gone. That's what I wanted to just check. I knew that would go away, but I just want to see it. I do like seeing things work. Sometimes I'll watch it work like 3 times in a row. Ooh, look at this. This is new. No kernel. Oh. What? That's interesting. You know why? Because we used a more restrictive thing that didn't have anything. Hey, how's it going, Black Mouse? We found about post start. Did you use that at all? Or was that we're using pre 1.11? Do you know about post start? Black Mouse, who just joined us in Twitch, they have been very helpful in doing all this. They've done many of these things already. So one of the things that we just discovered was the use of something called post start commands. And what they do is they allow you to run a command. Le café est arrivé, ce n'est pas des cas, et c'est 2 fois plus gros que ton café. You just got your cafe, your coffee, and it's twice as big. Not decaf. Mais Big Jim, mais je dois. I just got done drinking a very large one, and then I ranted pretty significantly. So. Surdose de café. Oui, c'est ça. Surdose, overdose, a café overdose, surdose de café. This is a huge breakthrough. I want to do this. I can't wait to do that. But that's going to be a script involvement. I've got to write this up so people don't think I'm just like twiddling my thumbs or something. Sometimes they think I'm like, no, I'm actually working. This is complicated shit, man. It's like the old pointy-haired dilemma in Dilbert. I gotta watch more Dilbert. I have to put more mandatory Dilbert on the stream. I love Dilbert. All right, so division work, we got this. So we're focused on template customization. Our current goal is to see if template customization blows out the profile list customization, which I think it does. And I need to find the link to that. So I'm gonna go back to the links. Template, JupyterHub, customization. I actually want to get one to work for a bit. So have a good one. See you, Big Jim. Experience with Helm. Yeah. So yeah. So you can actually create a new account and do git pull, or you can curl down another script and run it. That's what we're going to do so that our Helm chart is no longer tied to our customizations for the account setup script from any image that gets pulled down, that gets run. So you don't have to customize the image. You can just pull it down. So custom templates. This stuff. Customization, Jupyter Irish, read the docs. No, that's not it. This is the one we want. Working with templates in UI. Extending templates. So this is JupyterHub stuff. This is not. This is not Helm chart stuff. So there are Jinja templates that I knew. Custom templates. I actually did some template work way back when I first got the job. Just was plain old JupyterHub with no Kubernetes or anything, just to test it out. So that'll probably come back. Extending templates. Jinja provides a mechanism for extend templates. A base template can define a block. JupyterHub template makes extensive use of blocks. I'm not going to read about Jinja templates right now. I just need to figure out where they go. And how to do them. Extend the page templates as described above. I need to figure out what goes in my configuration file. I guess that's it. So you get the same effect by extending templates, which allows you to update the message without restarting template pass. I want to code in the template. I don't know if that can be done. We're going to see. So JupyterHub, we're looking for JupyterHub variables here. Custom templates. JupyterHub will look for custom templates in all its paths. I don't want custom templates. Please tell me I don't have to provide a custom template. I really don't want to do that because that would be, I'd have to curl it down, and I don't want to. That'd be a server thing. That would be a Helm chart modification. And I might have to do that. I might have to just put that. I might have to curl that thing into the before we start up, right? So, God damn it. I wish they would answer that phone. I have no idea what's going on here. So, okay, so Helm chart customization, template customization, post start script, keep driven issues. Division work, Helm chart, post start script. Git repo with templates, JHub, env to dir, and git sync. Yeah, sidecar. Yeah, I know that could be done, but I don't want to do that. I don't even have to put in the sidecar. I can just do the git, the git getter. That's what I'm going to be doing for the script, for the curl script. But there is a way to put a template in there, and I'm almost positive there's like, this is a small enough template because it's the the server selection screen that I think I can embed it in the chart, and I don't have to pull it down as a separate thing, which I just need to figure out how to do that. So I'm going to go to 0 to JupyterHub. Customization. There's a reference to this that I was just on. In the JupyterHub, we configure Jupyter to look for templates and Kubernetes config map resources. What? That's cool. They're using a config map for it. That would be cool because I could just add a config map. Reflecting the pod with a restart. JupyterHub will, within a minute, actually use the latest template. That's cool. That's cool. Yeah, config map's pretty much just a file-ish kind of thing. Can be configured, customized, and fit right. Reference supplying configuration changes. Use document by default. Customize user document image. Set environment variables about user storage. Little profiles to let users select their environment. We already have this. This is the profile list that we've been playing with. We already know about this. So I think there's a reference to the template in this little bit of information. This is what I found about the post thing. So there's the post start lifecycle hooks. Super cool. I love that. I think there's pre-start too, which is cool. These are CubeSpawner things though, so it's probably time for me to go look. I should probably open another window and pull up the CubeSpawner documentation because it's separate from the Helm stuff. But there's your git puller, right? So they pull down. This allows users to select from, and this is for single users. So this is only for the spawned pod. It's not for the hub thing that presents the server window. System D inspiration there. Yeah. Learning data science environment is pulled up. There we go. You can also control the HTML used for the profile selection page by using the CubeSpawner profile form template configuration. That's the one I needed. So, profile form template. We're going to go look for that. Profile form template. Oh my God. We're back into Perl Jinja land. So we got like no less than 4 languages combined into one thing, or syntaxes. It's got to be, but it can be done, right? So what's the N here about? I bet this isn't even displaying properly. We're going to have to pull this up in this. I'm sorry. We're going to have to do that. I just don't trust it. Sometimes I have to look at graphics things. Sorry. So if we go here and we search for, what was it? Profile form template. There it is. Privileged, whether to run, there it is. Okay, that's the one. So this big old long beast. The profile description should be in bold, even though it's not inside a label tag. CubeSpawner dash profile. What's that about? What is this about? I'm just going to put that in there. Yeah, this is, trial and error kind of stuff. Yeah, watch. I'm gonna dump it right in here and see what happens. So here's my other CubeSpawner stuff. Oh, God bless Python and Jinja. Oh my God. And Django. Is it Jinja or Django? Django's Python, right? Jinja, Django, Pylons. Is Pylon still a thing? Probably not. CubeSpawner profile form template equals Unicode, blah. Django is a framework. Yes, I know. So Jinja is a template thing. Django and Pylons, I think, both use Jinja templates, though. So I think, what does this end? I think this was originally intended to be a line return, but it's no longer a line return. So yeah. My question is, does this have to be on the same line? I don't want to do that. I don't think it's HTML, so the answer to that is absolutely not. I'm gonna make this readable. Sue me. The label tag. Oh my God, this is so fucked up. They put a comment in the style thing. Nah, let's just do this. I wonder if this will even work. This is going to be interesting to see if YAML like doesn't throw up on it. That's this is. I'm writing CSS inside of HTML, inside of a Unicode call to an argument, inside of Python, inside of YAML, and a Helm chart. Don't try this at home. Yeah, I'm not. I'm obviously going through the code, Jalopy. I would never say, kids, go just run whatever's there. And what the hell even is this here? Kubespawner profiles list. This, oh, it's a hashtag match. Okay, so there's a little bit of styling going on here. Oh god, it's so busted. This is so fucking broken. It is, and my poor my poor editor has no idea how to draw this. No editor on IDE on Planet Earth, not even Emacs or VS Code, could make sense of this. This is probably one of those things where I had a script where I put that in an actual file that has syntax highlighting, and then I pull it in. You know what I'm saying? That would be the proper thing to do here, which I'm not doing. Because then I could actually have it in a file that could be maintained and shit. I mean, this is disastrously bad. Not to mention the fact that it's all got to be single quotes because it's all double quoted, which means if there's anything in there that's going to get escaped, like backslash stuff because it's Python. Oh my god! Not to mention the fact that there's escapes going on for YAML. I think this actually means verbatim. Like no, everything stays. It's been a while though, so yeah. When you keep things maintainable. Welcome to, are you an operator? You're probably an operations person. I know. I'm just having. It's fun. It's all good. All right. So div call. All these line returns that failed to copy over. I could just see a beginner copying those in. Why doesn't it work? You need to know HTML, people. You might not like it, but you have to know it. It's like mandatory learning. Sorry, you have to. You're going to be using it constantly. Profile select. I love that Ginger template looks a lot. That little thing right there looks a lot like what you. Now I think this has to be on the same line in this case. Yeah, it does. Otherwise, that whole line won't. Well, no, it doesn't. Never mind. It does not. Hey, look, they decided to use HTML. They decided to use XHTML there for some reason, even though they didn't need it. I'm going to override that because I disagree with that decision. Which also means we can just put it over here. God damn, this is ugly. It's ugly. But I don't like ugliness, so I'm cleaning it up. Oh my god. Please do not tell me. Do you see this? Do you know what this is? That's like a Bootstrap reference. Are they telling me that they use Bootstrap for all of it so that you can just like use Bootstrap's indicators? Shit. That's a Bootstrap reference. I can't believe they put a Bootstrap reference in there. That means that means that they must be using Bootstrap for. You see, I wouldn't know any of that if I hadn't done web development. I'm reassessing my decision to not have beginners learn web development because at the end of the day, you're gonna end up having to do it at some point. You just, whether you want to or not, you just gotta own the facts. You're gonna have to learn how to do it. I wouldn't have recognized that as Bootstrap if I hadn't done work in Bootstrap. Highlight book from YouTube. What's being processed? I know. It's like Bootstrap. And then, beginners are like, tech is hard. I'm like, yeah. The volume of things represented in this little thing that I'm writing right here that you would have to know to be able to even start doing this is pretty damn intimidating. I'm not gonna lie. It's fucking. It's not flex. It's just, this is fucking horrible. But this is tech. It's like Lana Lux. This is game dev. This is cloud native. this is cloud native. All right, so I don't even know if that file is gonna like compile, and I can't do any YAML linting on it because it's got so much shit in it. There's no way to know. There's no linter on planet Earth that could lint that properly. The only way to test this is to actually run it. Font weight normal. Why would you all of a sudden put font weight normal in there? I don't know. This is their example, so we're gonna work with it, and then we're gonna see what's up. All right. So technically, all of that is an argument to the Unicode, which is going to be doing the escape, I assume. I don't know why they didn't do URL encode instead of Unicode there, but whatever. It's gonna be fun. If pre-pull, look, the rest of my YAML file is like totally fucked. It's like I have no idea. So it has no idea. It doesn't. It's like oh no, why? Because of the, there we go. Yeah, that was because of the indentation line. Yeah. That was what it is. That was the indentation shit. That was what was causing that. So yeah, because it was indented at the same level. That was a bad on me. Bad on me. So I have to leave it like that. All right. It's going to be a disaster. That's what your bet. Thank you for that vote of confidence. This is, okay. First of all, this little assumption that Bootstrap is there, I'm super interested in. I'm super interested in that. Just one little thing. So let's do this. We got to do bapply and throw out our other one and see what we get with this new one. This is why, see this little iteration I'm doing right here? So I put it on Minikube on my local machine. What if I had to do this entire thing to the dev cluster? It would work. Uh-oh. Crash boot lap off. Danger. K-logs. Yeah, we kind of, I think you guessed it. You guessed it. Kind of surprised that wasn't something JS in there too. Yeah. Is built for disasters, dev clusters. Yeah, technically. So logs. Oh, look, I knew it. EOL while scanning string literal. You know what this means? It has to be on the same line. I'm going to use F strings. I'm going to use an F string instead. Is that going to get me in trouble? Yes, it is, because all the syntax in here that's F string like. Fuck. How can I do this? Let's see. We could do, yeah, we could use F strings, right? Which is the one that allows it move quotes on the next line. What do you mean quotes on the next line? Triple quote. Yes. Oh God. Yes. Thank you for the triple quote recommendation. I forgot about that. There's nothing else going on here. We need triple quotes. Yes. I don't know why I wasn't using triple quotes. Triple quotes got to the rescue. Python triple quotes to the rescue. I forgot about triple quotes. I did. I completely forgot. I was thinking about backtick. I was thinking JavaScript and Go. And Go, by the way, to do that, you do backtick. Backtick says every fucking character is literal. And you cannot replace anything in there. And yeah, so I don't know, we'll try. Let's see what this one does. It's a good thing I have this all scripted, right? And local. So I'm gonna sup my coffee. My code is deploying. You're still betting on disaster? I have a feeling too. Hello.
I'm going to Barron Springs.
They've been calling you like crazy.
I know. For that meeting.
What meeting?
To tour the space where I'm teaching yoga next week.
Is it the Charlotte? It's the Charlotte. Okay, I was gonna say, can you say hi to her for us?
Yeah. And
yeah.
And I'll be back. I do have your card.
I know. I tried to use it yesterday.
No, because I need it for the I need it for Earth Week. Now I'm gonna need it for the card today. So. But.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, there's no hub name that anymore. Unicode is not defined. What the fuck? I'm doing Python development inside of my home deployment. This is why it needs to be broken out, right? So I could just test it. Yeah, Dolapi. This is good. This is funny. I have no disagreement. But seriously, the iteration cycle on this is, painful. Async, line, traitlet, quargs. What is the actual error? Get me to the error. Unicode is not defined. What do you mean Unicode is not defined? I have a feeling they were trying to do URL is what I think that they were trying to do. I think they were trying to do URL encode and it's a typo. I will bet you anything it's a typo. So far my yeah, we're just having fun. So look at that. So we have a Python function for sure is missing from Helm, right? It is missing from Helm. Yeah, it is a Python function. So no, this is not. This is supposed to be Python code. But there's no such thing. You know what? You know what I'm gonna do? I mean, I did a lot of work to type that in there. I'm gonna leave it. But I want to try something simpler because that's I was just shooting in the breeze. I'm gonna comment all that out, and let's just make something. How about this? My template. This is my new template. This is it right here. My template. That's it. And the only thing we're trying to define is this template form is going to blow out the profile list. That is all. That is the purpose of this. So I don't need this big, long, fucking broken thing. That's all. So simplify. I'm going to simplify. All right, here we go. Build apply. Coffee time. Did I not put quotes? I put single quotes. Did I not put single quotes? Error. Oh my God. That was embarrassing. I don't even pretend I didn't do that. Seriously, pretend I didn't do that. Shh. Don't tell anybody I did that. Terminating. Container creating. What the fuck? Oh my God. Oh my God.
It's working! It's working!
I just blew all your ears out. I'm so sorry. All right. So what the fuck, Friday? Yeah, we're going to do some. Okay. This is actually really good. So we have my template. Well, let's see what it looks like. We still don't know. Let's do that. All right, ready? Hey, look, I'm gonna use my fancy thing here. It's gonna open my Minikube. This is one of the best discoveries about Minikube ever. Oh my God. They like put me right in my server even. I means I have to log out. Oh, that's because my server instance was still running. Yes. Yes, it definitely did work. Because I took all that shit out, Floppy. I cheated. It definitely falls under the cheating category. I cheated. What do you mean? Well, the one's not stopped. Server not running? Okay. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are, but I'll find you. Server options. Hey, look at my template. My template. Why is there a start button? How is there? Why did it put a start button on the end of my template? It injected more code than I wanted to be there. This is not cool. Why would it do that? I don't want to click on it. This is my new custom template. And yes, it did blow out the profile list. That was our conclusion. So it definitely worked, but the thing I don't like is it blew out my selections. I did click it. I did. And it gave me the default, which I knew it would do, but whatever. That sucks. That sucks because that means I can't have the profile list and the other one. That means I have to write some complicated Ginger template that iterates over the profile list. But I don't want to do that. That's like dumb work. I don't want to. Okay, I have a question. What if I change the form value there? How can I look up what the existing value is? I wonder if I can do that. You know what I can do? I'm going to hack something. I'm going to hack. I want to see what the existing form value is, so I'm going to hack it. Yeah. Yes, I am. It's not in the example. We just looked. Oh, you know what we could do? No. You know what we could do? We could just do this and look at it and then see where it's marked. Yeah, I'm totally cheating. This is like hacker think. So view page source. Oh my God. I need to change that immediately. I don't think you can actually change that one. And if for example, you already butchered the hell out of it. I know, but it's fine. I can just replace it. So script URLs, args, hub static, base components, jQuery. Hey, there's jQuery in here, and Bootstrap. It's using jQuery. It's using Bootstrap from jQuery. Nice. Windows JH data, base URL hub, prefix hub user, admin access false option form. Look at that. JHub data. You see this? Yep. Admin access equals false. I can mess with that if I wanted to. Direction over profiles. Or if it's for iterating over profiles. Yeah, I'm just going to look here. So, JupyterHub requires JavaScript. Please enable to proceed. No links for you. Navbar. Where's the my thing? So I want to see what the form definition is. Okay, here we go. So my template. So okay. So here's what we found out. So your template is going to be embedded in a form. This is really good news because I can type in the name of I know, I removed it on purpose. No, it's right here. This is just so this is what I was looking for. This here, the style shit, all this stuff, all of that that's just being pasted straight into the middle of the form. That's it. So all I need to do is I can actually make an input variable. It's actually not that hard. That says what image they want. And so I'm actually that far along. Or I can make a profile list if I wanted to, or whatever. And the submission is going to be the same no matter what. We just need to figure out what to set we need to figure out what the form variables are, and I think it's already in here. We can just look at this one. So there it is for the profile item. So yeah, here's the iteration right here. I see it. So we could just do the Ginger template for that. This is making a form group. ID keep spawner profiles list. This is just to make it pretty. Label the profile slug class form. We need to the most important thing we need to figure out is where the identifier comes from. Type rado name equals profile. So profile. So this I'm gonna sort of incrementally build up on this. So what we can do here is we can say we can actually do an input field. Can I do this? I'm assuming I can. Does this have to be on their own lines? I don't know. We're going to find out. It's just to make it pretty AFK. It's just selected for JS, but yeah. So yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm gonna try some things very incrementally. I'm gonna put an input field here, and we'll do type equals text. Type equals text. Fuck you in your quotes, and we're gonna say name equals profile. Now this is bad because this is like picking from a profile, but I actually want to be able to pick an image, not a profile. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. It looks like the only option you have is you can't input the name of an image. You can only input the name of the profile. So yeah. No, you can't with Bootstrap. So this is it's just another experiment. I'm going to do this really quick. I mean, that's the simplest form of this. Profile display name, description. So I feel like you saw the JH stuff, right? You saw this JH stuff up here. I feel like we can actually overcome it in some way with this, with the JH data. I think we could probably put some JavaScript in here that messes with the data. Profile image binding. Yeah. So there's definitely a profile to image binding that I don't know if we can get around. That's kind of the next step after this. But wait, I already did that. I did that. I don't need that. You guys can go away now. Yes, leave site, please. So be apply. So that's going to get us what we want, I think. Terminating. It's pretty cool when you think about it because it's like shutting down an entire machine and restarting it essentially. It's not really, it's a pod, but it is kind of cool. I mean, it takes time, but the TOS for this, for what? In terms of service? I think there is definitely a profile image binding. I think that's definitely what's going on. And I don't think we can get around it, honestly. I think the best I can do is generate a dynamic profile right there, but then it would have to be, the profile would have to be saved in the Helm chart somehow because it's probably in a config map someplace. I'm betting all the profiles get loaded into a config map someplace. In fact, I did ever check that. I should probably check that. Okay, get config map. Yep, there it is. Yep. I bet this has the profiles in it. I bet you. You can restrict access to the profiles in some way. Yeah. Yeah. So we have the PPC image pool secrets. Oh, here's your Pi. That's super interesting. There's the actual, what? There's the actual config file that gets created. So I've been looking for that shit. I have not been able to find that thing. That's why I couldn't find it. I was looking all over on the endpoints, through with exec on the system, and it's not there. It's in a config file. All right, well that makes sense. So there's the spawner. Man, this is the one I've been looking for forever. Thank God I found it. Camel caseify, yeah. Warning: hub.db password is ignored. So this is what gets run. Camel caseify, JupyterHub trait. Hub bind URL. That's the important one. Hub connect URL. Yep. Okay. Common labels. I looked all through this several months ago before we did the new Helm chart. So what I'm interested in, pod namespace. That's interesting. That's where the user namespace stuff's coming from. Yep. Oh my. Pod affinity required. Extra pod affinity required. What is this? A tuple? Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Single user plus config key. Yeah, I don't see any profile stuff, but I'm just gonna look through this kind of slowly. Definitely Python. It's not like it's hard to read or anything. Schedule name, user scheduler, priority, image pool secrets. Sorry about it. I'm getting tired. It's because I drink too much coffee. But this is decaf. Maybe I need the caffeine again. Node affinity. Schedule pod tolerations. Oh god, I forgot about taste tolerations. I'm not even gonna mess with those. Not in what I'm doing here. That stuff's already been deployed and everything. PVC ensure source costing user dynamic scope. See, this is where I'm gonna have to write the mounts for the network attached storage. We already have Python code for that. We've done it with other stuff, so I'm fine. That's just gonna have to get plopped in. I actually don't want to do it in this. I want to do it in, you know what? Fuck. That means I'm going to have to write a Python script for that curl thing because they've already got the Python written to do all that shit. I'd rather write it as bash, but whatever. Key spawner volume mounts. Home mount. There we go. Single user static PVC name. All right. This is nice because this is like the end result of the, if you were just running Jupyter by itself without Kubernetes, this is what you would write. So that makes sense. Oh, look at this. If extra files volume equals name files. Inject single user extra files as volumes. No way. Or volume amounts with data loaded from a dedicated keep a secret prepared. Do you know what that means? Hey, Clementino. Came productive. Coincidence? I think not. I've been productive all along. So this is cool. You know what this means? This means that I can put extra files and put them in secrets and have them pulled down so that they could. No, I don't want to do that. I was thinking about putting my script as a secret and then listing it as extra files and then having it pull it in. And I don't know why I don't just do post start command pull curl, and that's probably just as well. I don't know. It just depends on where I'm going to put the script. Am I going to put it as a secret or config map, or am I going to put it, someplace else? Their own suggestions are that use Git for that. So I think we can extend out of the cluster for that stuff. Why I'm thinking secret user. I didn't know about that though, so this has been really useful just reading through this. Volumes extend, extra volumes. Mount the extra volumes. I might just be able to use extra volumes for mounting the NAS. I don't know though. Call enabled, yeah. Python, JupyterHub idle caller. Base URL. Config, call. Don't need any of that. Services dependent color. Oh, it's a long file. I know you're not. It's like really compelling. I'm even getting tired. Come on, here we go. Cspawner command single user .cmd. Default user single default user. Interesting. I can set the single user command. I can override it. Yes, I could do .cmd and override single user command. Probably a bad idea though, because it would cause all my images to depart from the standardization of the images, and we don't want to do that because then users wouldn't know about it and they get burned. Don't want to do that. IP tables. Single user network images, IP client v1 containers, IP tables -a. No, we're not doing any of that. Debug false, log level. No. What? Is it reading .d? Did it say it was reading .d? It is. Oh, cool. I saw that this was a thing. I didn't know it was being observed by by Kubernetes. That's cool. That's cool. That because you can add, if you wanted to, you could put extra files in there and stuff them in there, and that'd be your configuration. There's just so many different ways to go. That's why there's a bunch of important decisions to make right now. Compiling makes debugging easier. Yeah, referring to a Stack Overflow question inside your source code is bad practice. Seriously. No, just say no. Cookie secret, no. Don't need that crypt key, no. What was I looking for? Was I looking for persistence? I was looking for the template, the profile. So let's go kind of zoom into that. If it's here, it doesn't look like it is. Proxies and stuff. There's no profile. There's no profile stuff in the config map, unfortunately. So that means that the profile image binding is coming from extra config. And no, it's not. It's not coming from extra config. It's coming from profile list. You know what that means? It's time to go spelunking through the templates. So actually, let's do one thing first. This thing's finally probably up. Get pods. I think it probably came back up. Yes, it did. Okay, so I want to first test and see what our new change using our custom input profile. Right, so here it is. And if we use the default profile, it will start the default. So I actually have another profile. I want to refer to it by name. I want to test that, see if I can just enter the profile so we know we can separate the profile. So I'm going to get off of here, control exit panel. I don't know the name of the different ones. Did you know that Kubernetes is not plural? Someone uses it as a plural. Kubernetes. Oh shit. I didn't want to do that. Values for, I'll get rid of you. Yeah, values. What is the name of our other profile? So profile list, we have the default. So the name of this one is default. Display name, data science environment. But what's the actual name? Oh, that's interesting. So is there like display name and then name? Yeah, I don't know. How do you refer to it? Single user profile list. You know what? This is something I can actually fetch. No, this is where I have to go look in the template. Yep. I have to go look in the template, see what ends up being the result. No. I could probably go manifest and find it, or Helm manifest. Yeah, let's do that. Helm manifest. Was it manifest or what is it? Get manifest. Yeah. Get manifest. JHub is a release, I think. Yep. This is the actual YAML that is running, the resources that are actually running right now. I did a whole video about this. And I want to go find where anything that says default is. I'll find where those profiles are. So how they got, I want to see how the Helm chart got converted into, Kubernetes YAML resource files. So I want to see where that happened, what it decided to do. Single user, the default is IP block. No. Okay. So hub existing secret. What is this? A config map? I'm guessing. Yep. Okay. So that's the config map. And I can go through the template file and the chart and look at it too, but this is even more useful because this is the actual resulting YAML resource files. So I love this. I did not know about this until 3 days ago. Who added it? Who told me about it? I should give them credit. That was really awesome. Thank you for that. I was thinking LGBT somebody. So, whoa. So there's the JupyterHub UI file that resulted. We already looked at that. I don't think that's the config map that we already looked at. And trying to get past the thing. It's like fucking huge. 600 lines. PVC, we don't need that. Cluster role, we don't need that. User schedule, we got that. Cluster role binding. No, that's the cluster role. That's not the binding. The binding is right here, probably. Persistent volume. What am I looking for? See, I don't even know. I'm looking for default. I'm looking for the default profile. HT proxy, no. That's a proxy. No. What are you talking about? So this means that was all written into the JupyterHub file. That's what it means. It means it has nothing to do with any of the Helm chart resources. I mean, the Kubernetes resources. That means it would be in a template related to, so I actually do have to go in here. Because why? Because it's relating to, it's something to do with the JupyterHub stuff. And that's in the hub pod. Because it's a config map. Yep. And it's going to be in here somewhere. There's going to be something about profile list or something. There should be something about profile list in there. So there's not. Holy shit. Where did it put it? This is part of Helm chart spelunking. It's something I do not enjoy doing, but it's a part of the process. So you have to do it. Single user profile list. There we go. Image puller, helpers daemon set. What? It's in the user scheduler config map? That doesn't make any sense at all. That doesn't make any sense. Why would they put it there? But they did. Profile. Profiles. All right. JupyterHub user schedule full name. So config map. This is interesting. So this is reference scheduling config. Release name. You're just gonna play. This doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think this is related. I don't think it's related. Where's the image? Okay, so let's see if we can. Maybe we can just look through here and look for the images instead. Unless it could be in the files. Oh. Oh. Uh-oh. Maybe it's done in real time. I bet you it is. I bet you it has nothing to do with Helm. Yep, that's it. There it is right there, profile list. So that would make so much sense. All right, I gotta go even higher here and do the search. So rep-s-i profile list. There, we got stuff. Values.yaml, we don't need that. Templates image puller. Why the fuck is it in the image? Because the profile list got the image associated with it. I guess that's why. Value single on profile list. I would never have guessed it was in the image puller thing. God bless grep. So it's in the helpers for the daemon set. Well, okay. I mean, there it is in black and white-ish. So we're going to edit that file. Profile. This stuff I'm doing with the Helm chart is a part of this job. You have to be able to read Helm charts. And this, by the way, all of this code is Golang template code. So learn it. You have to have it. Helm is on the certification in 1.22 from now on. Conditionally pull profile list images. Values pre-pull or pull profile list images. Values singular profile list. So that is a direct reference to the Helm chart value. So that's where it gets it. And if the container has a kubespawner override, then if the container has a kubespawner override image, use that and grab that image. So there it is. There's the binding. I don't know if Black Mouse is still here, but there it is. The Helm chart has a very specific binding between profile and image. They cannot be broken. I mean, we could do... No, it doesn't include it. If it had pre-pull resources and yeah, no. With pre-pull security context, nope, can't do it. The security context, it pulls in as is. That's what this is. Resources, it pulls in as is. That's so you can put your resource limits. I'm glad I found that the other day, by the way. I think I probably still need to put that in. I think, well, no, because I'm not using the pre-puller, so it doesn't get... That's our OPA gatekeeper policies. We're failing. This part is related to the puller, so it's not being just not triggering any fails. I don't want to pull an extra image. I can't even run this separate image. How can I associate the separate image from the user interface? Because it's tied directly to a profile list. All right, this, I'm going to take a break. This is super critical. We've just found out that with the Helm 1.01 chart, without significant rewrite of the Helm template itself, we cannot allow a user to submit their we cannot allow a user to submit their own image name, because either that or we would have to dynamically create a new profile. If we're going to do it, we would have to create dynamically a single user profile list. But this is a part of the Helm chart that gets deployed. So what I'm trying to figure out is, where does this shit land? Right? So actually, I think I know where it lands now. So we can maybe go change it. Name, extra constraints. Is this a config file map? I think it is. Init containers, image pull secrets. What is this thing? This is, yeah, this is, okay, yeah, this is deployment. This is deployment. This is the deployment for, all right, I know where to look now. I know where to look. This is the daemon set. I would never have guessed it's in the daemon set. Never. Without looking in the chart. That doesn't make any sense to me, but it is. What are you talking about? There's no daemon sets. There has to be a Daemon set. How do I get all the resources? What is it again? No, it just showed me there was a Daemon set. Okay, wait. Okay, no, Helm, get manifest. I'm gonna dump this. Tenfu. All right, so Vaya Tenfu. What the fuck? I made a mistake, or did I? Right. Okay, I hear you. JHub. Tenfu dot. Actually, J. Dot YAML. All right, so I really have to look through this thing. There's profile list. We have to see if there's a daemon set in here. There's not. So I'm super confused. The only thing that had anything to do with the profile list, how about image? Image puller, can you use image puller? Those things are all turned off. Image pull policy. So the image pull policy just does it. Get config single user image.name. If image tag config single user if tag. What name cube spawner? Cube spawner to image. This is super. This is the key code right here. This cube spawner.image is the thing that we have to change. So we could probably get that. Oh, Helm, you heard me hate Helm on YouTube there. I look at this template and want to die. I know it's hard to come by Golang divs do infrastructure stuff. Yeah, no, it's actually not either of their fault in my opinion. My opinion is that Kubernetes has tried to be too declarative, and so there's no place to put imperative logic, and so Helm ended up being the place to do it. When in fact the entire baseline design of Kubernetes is flawed, it being too declarative in my opinion. And I'm not the only one who shares that opinion. There's a lot of really influential people in the Kubernetes space, in the cloud native space, who are now hinting at that same idea. I'm just saying it outright. This overemphasis on declarative model in Kubernetes is destroying simplicity in deployments. That's the reason. You cannot have, I mean, if you're going to deploy a Kubernetes thing, you have to be able to change certain ways it's deployed and artifacts. And you can't just say, I'm going to change a YAML file. You have things that have to have logic. And that logic right now is all in the Helm template or in the scripts that encapsulate the Helm template, which encapsulates the YAML. And that's one of the biggest problems with the Kubernetes world in general. If they don't figure that out, it's going to be really interesting. There are some things on that front to figure it out. There's, like Chris Nova's doing NAML and was it Cube? There's another effort to do some things on that front, but it's a problem. It's a real serious problem, and I don't know how they're going to fix it. It's exactly the same problem as Gulp versus Grunt in the JavaScript world once upon a time. It's exactly the same problem. Pristine use of OOP. Yeah. I worked with this guy. He was very adamant about wanting simple Go apps that generate YAML Kubernetes specs. You don't write YAML template, just translate Go structs to YAML JSON. Exactly. That's what YAML is. That's what YAML is, actually. Yeah, that's Chris Nova's YAML. That's what she does. She takes YAML resource specification to translate them into single executable Go programs. I actually wrote a big thing about hating Helm and what the alternative is. I think the alternative, as I made a big rant earlier today about why I think we should chuck all of this stuff, keep the API, and rethink all of this YAML shit, period. And just hire software developers to deploy Kubernetes applications, even though that exists. Because look, everything that I'm doing in this chart to get this thing to deploy is all software development. So stop pussyfooting around the fact that Kubernetes is about software deployment, and even if you're on the operations side of the house. Just own it and stop fucking around with this declarative stuff. The only thing that should be declarative is the policies. That's it. The policies, capacity management, those things should be declarative. But stop trying to be declarative every place else because you were declarative there and declarative is supposedly good. And so therefore you're trying to inject, that's why we have these shitty Helm charts. The reason we have shitty Helm charts is there's nowhere else to write deployment logic. You either write a shell script or you write a Helm template, and you write a Helm template and it doesn't cover everything. And you end up writing a shell script anyway because it doesn't have cluster roles and stuff that Helm can never fucking know about. So then you end up with two different sets of code. And then you complain because you're like, I can't, you don't have software developers to do Kubernetes. Well, now you got to have people that are schooled. They have to know how to code in Python. They have to know how to code in Helm. They have to know Golang Helm charts. They have to know YAML. They have to know all that shit anyway. You might as well hire a software developer. Seriously. So, and if you're hiring somebody that doesn't know how to keep track of all these configurations because they're an operations or DevOps person, you're fucked. Because, okay, I've been on this rant twice today, but I just want to say it again. The simplification for this, the operator framework in place of Helm, or just raw YAML management. Yeah, well, I don't get a chance to make that choice, right? Raw YAML would be my vote. Raw YAML would be my vote. The problem with raw YAML is you have to add something to it. So my vote would be raw YAML plus, a Go compiled thing or a script or something to do deployment. I would love to chuck Helm, but you can't chuck Helm because you get something that's really complicated. Like this has lots of moving pieces. And so this idea of package management, which it is not, and you can read my rant on that. Helm package management is not anywhere close to package management. The only thing it has in common with package management is it is a loose collection of the same resources that have to be run everywhere. And it can sort of be transferred around, and it has verbs, install, uninstall stuff. That is it. If we could get people to stop referring to Helm as package management for cloud, we would all be better, because it's not. At best, it's configuration. It's a configuration helper, but you have to read and dig apart every single template like I'm doing right now. You have to do all the software development, which is what this is. I mean, it's scripting and stuff, but it's software development to get the thing to deploy at all. And so by the time after you spent like, I don't know, 3 days trying to figure out all the different syntaxes and how the Helm chart person decided to configure it differently than the actual YAML files and what they end up being and where the translation happens, you read the template. Might as well just write the whole fucking thing in Go or Python or Bash and be done. Well, you have to be following coders to get it. So I'm doing some of this stuff live because I want people to see the pain points. Potentially, maybe they'll watch this and they'll see the pain points. They'll be like, why are you doing this using the Helm chart? Well, I'm doing it using the Helm chart because that is the consistent way to deploy JupyterHub and Kubernetes. This is the closest thing that the powers that be have come together on. But I had a big fight, not a fight, but there was a conflict even on my team about whether we should use the Helm chart at all. They were like, no, we're just going to do our own customization. We're going to roll our own. But you saw how much JupyterHub customization is necessary to get Kubernetes with independent spawners in their own user namespaces. You saw the code involved to do that. Do you want to just fork to the Helm project and support your own thing forever going on? No, you want to have some consistency. That's the appeal of Helm. So what would be better is if the people who made the Helm chart had deployed the whole thing as a single Go executable. If they had done that, this is what I want the industry to do, but they haven't done it so far. What I would rather the industry have done is get into the business of creating single Go executables that take overlays as YAML files and allow you to customize and change those overlays and allow you to script on top of that, because you're going to be scripting anyway, right? You cannot escape the extra scripting steps that whenever you overlay to any sort of package deployment, because you have got to set your own cluster limits. You got to set your own resource limits and things like that are never going to be able to be codified in a Helm chart ever. So there's gonna be scripting. Just own the fact there's gonna be scripting. Codify, put the baseline things. Allow overlays to come into there and start producing executable files that have a common API that uses a common command line API, or that they use a common API and have them talk to Kubernetes directly. That's the future. To me, that's the future, and whoever makes that's gonna win. Because as soon as they do that, Helm will go away. Do people actually think that they can do DevOps without writing a single line of code? No, but there's a lot of managers who don't hire software developers. They hire operations people. There's a trend in the industry, and all the SRE focus. You know, the whole SRE thing from Google. You have to be able to code to be able to do things right. But if you're going to do cloud native or DevOps, it's that times 1,000, because you have to have solid. You basically you have to have people who have spent 2 or 3 years in a software shop before they even understand why they are using Git. I have people on my team right now that are leading the team who have no idea how to use Git. They have no idea. They have no idea how to actually use it. They don't use it. They don't branch. They've got a big monolith repo, and it's a disaster. It's a disaster. And so, you know, I love them. I love them to death. But trying to get them to, even I didn't know Git. I was using Git wrong last year. You can see me learn and go through all the pain if you go back in my videos. I wasn't branching properly. I don't think you need to branch every time. I've since rethought that after hearing some really influential people say, no, mono, main's fine as long as keeps your commit history cleaner, blah blah blah. As long as you have a limited per person. Check out operator framework. Basically, exactly, yeah. The operator. That's where I was going with this. Really, what we should all be doing is all writing operators. It's like all CGI scripts all over again. I'm just basically going to be a CGI guy again. Because at the end of the day, Kubernetes is just an API. It's just an API. Get in development, perfect storm. Yeah. Container that was developed by a Golang Ansible and contains all the deployment configuration logic for the applications supporting services. Oh my God. See, this, thank you for sharing this, because this is, so operatorframework.io was shared as a link. So those of you listening, this might actually have a chance. I'll have to go read about this during training time, because this is what's coming. It's going to take a FANG company or Google or somebody to get people to just get in step and say, look, this YAML is out of control. This YAML and Golang template shit. The reason Helm sucks so bad is because Golang templates, as fucking awesome as they are not a replacement for code. They're not. They're not a replacement for actual code, right? So they're really great, and they get us a lot farther along down the path. They're not just static YAML files that are declaring what the infrastructure is supposed to be. And then if you add all of these pseudo YAML syntaxes like what is it, Kyverno, which actually has its own language that's written in a subsection of the YAML, that's like just a disastrous path to go down. And so if you take all of that, you know, at the end of the day, you're writing code. Just own that you're writing code. Get rid of all of it and write the code to do it. And then talk directly to the API. That is the better direction for the industry, in my opinion. But that's a very software-centric direction, and those people don't want it. People don't want it. I was like, dude, you can't get around it. They're like, you're already doing it. You're just doing it poorly. It's like, no, I don't want to have to write software just to do my deployments and customize it. Like, you're already doing it. So just own that you're doing it and just make it simpler. Getting efficient programming will never be separate. The operator lifecycle is baked into OpenShift 4. Really? Shit. Oh, are they? Oh man, why are you telling me that, Nam? I'm going to have to look at Red Hat shit. You know, I hate to say it. But IBM actually understands this stuff. I worked there for, a long time. I'm going to have to look at that. If they're doing the operator lifecycle focus, that is, oh my God, that just makes me so nervous. Boom, there it is. Yeah. Take out a team, take out a Git, and this is it. Manjaro, yeah. And there it is. Moz, are you giving me shit because you're seeing me finally see the value of OpenShift? Is that what you're saying? Vivaldi, we're not going to talk about that right now. OpenShift and operators, yeah. Fuck. My SME's a big Red Hat guy, and he's been saying OpenShift is tech. He says something every once in a while. He's saying that OpenShift was going to dominate and Podman was the future, and I'm like, no, fuck no, I'm not doing it. But I immediately thought about the Open Data Hub operator. Yeah, which does a great job to deploy all of this. Is the Open Data Hub? Is this an OpenShift thing? God damn it! Why would you tell me about that? Now I'm really conflicted. Do they have an operator approach that doesn't do this JupyterHub Helm this stuff? This is, you know what this is? Okay, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna offend somebody. I'm super sorry. I can't say it. We're not gonna talk about Terraform right now. We'll talk about it later. So this zero to JupyterHub thing was created by Python academics, 100%. And my perception, and if I'm wrong, let me know. My perception is that the people who made zero to JupyterHub are mostly data science people who know Python primarily and know enough Kubernetes to be dangerous and have been incrementally making all these changes. And the people that are in the group and they're committing to it, they're from academia and they're creating this zero to JupyterHub thing mostly so they can deploy it at universities and organizations like that. The idea that they would not even have a clue about the operator approach that you just taught me about with OpenShift. Can't technically be used in any Kubernetes deployment, but super easy in OpenShift. The one thing that I have been motivated to do since I came in to this whole business is learn how to write operators. You're gonna laugh, but there is a remarkable similarity between all of this Kubernetes shit and plain old CGI scripting back in the day. Because at the end of the day, it's all just microservices and REST APIs. So the thing that's going to end up winning out is operators. And operators are just, they have a parallel to operators and controllers. Right. Operators and controllers at their core are just back-end CGI scripts from another era. They really are. They're just far more complicated and they're interacting in different ways. AI servers that honestly just look like a wild monolith from 2008. I know. I want to quote you on that so bad. I'm so glad you said it and I didn't. Oh my God. Thank you for making my day. That is the greatest comment ever. I got to read it again. So Namwab Nitsuj, who's relatively new to my stream. Actually, today I see your follow there. Thank you. It says, at 100%, data scientists making these next-gen AI servers that honestly just like wild monoliths from 2008. Have you seen the Domino code base, for example? Oh my God. It's just, I'm scared. I'm scared for the future. Yeah, you can always share links here as long as it's not boobs or something. Then you share those links privately. I'm just saying. So, OperatorHub.io. Yeah, somebody already posted that, Black Mouse. They got you. Somebody's a little bit faster than you. That's stuff. That's hard to say, man. Black Mouse has been really on it and very helpful. They really, they actually tried to already do this. So yeah. Now you got me really conflicted because, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that the Open Data Hub operator is an alternative to deploying JupyterHub in Kubernetes. And so I have to stop everything I'm doing. Vanilla Kubernetes operators AFK. I think OperatorHub was already suggested. Did I get this wrong? Let me go check. No, it was Operator Framework. Oh. Operator Framework and OperatorHub, I did not realize. These are different. Okay. So let me open that one. What does this one say? So OperatorHub.io. OperatorHub is a new home for Kubernetes community of shared operators. Yeah, I think this is the future. Honestly, I think the operators are going to take over. Helm has been trying to make Helm Hub or whatever the fuck. No. Have you ever tried to use it? It's such shit. It has, I'm sorry. There's great people who are probably involved in the project. I am not saying anything about them. I don't like it. I just don't like it. This is where it should probably go. I haven't done any research on this, so I don't know. Don't take it with a grain of salt. A very light opinion on my part. But I think that the future of Kubernetes deployment for applications or internal operators, system of range operators, microservice, whatever you're going to do, is going to be writing operators. I really do. I think this whole thing is going to eventually boil down to writing operators. I do. I think that is the end result. The people have been dying for simplification in Kubernetes, and I think that's it. And when that happens, now you have packaging because you have a compiled operator that can go in there and do its thing. It's not compiled. It doesn't have to be compiled, but being in containers. I think this is where the future is. And frankly, I was mentioning this to my friend before he left, and I was like, man, all this stuff is doing is making me want to really keep up on my Go and write my first operators in Go, because the future of Kubernetes application deployment is clearly operators, in my opinion. In my opinion, the future is writing operators. So if you want to get a CCAD and go through the pain of managing Helm and all that shit, fine. But if you want to get ready for the next wave is going to be writing operators. And that means you better fucking learn Go, because it's all about Go, rapid applications cloud deployment, and Go has gRPC built in and protobuf and everything. Rust has it and other things, but this is where it's going to be at. This is why Go is important. It's also why I had to go back to my schedule to force me to keep learning Go. I went a month and a half without writing a single line of Go. Why? Because I'm doing this Python Kubernetes shit, and I'm doing, the bash scripting for the Zet and other things. And I've been distracted. And so my Go is kind of, diminishing after a month and a half. I'm like, no, fuck no. I'm not letting my Go down. So particularly since the O'Reilly, did you see this? The O'Reilly report that just came out today or yesterday? The average salary for Go developers is $179,000. And according to this survey, from O'Reilly, the average Rust developer salary was $180K. And Go was $179K. And it was actually, it was there. So, the reason they cited in the thing is because, and they said Python doesn't make nearly that. The average Python was like 130, 140, because they can get lots of Python people because it's now mainstream, blah, blah, blah. And that's fine. And that's fine. You should learn Python for that reason. But yeah, Rust and Go are high. Rust is more expensive because the very few tiny 0.01% of applications and companies that are hiring for Rust, which includes Amazon, are paying crazy gobs of money when they actually need a Rust person. But the number of jobs in Rust, they didn't talk about that at all in there. The number of jobs in Rust compared to the number of jobs in Go programming is astoundingly different. And there's tons of Go work, even though according to the survey they only make $1,000 less per year, even though there's tons more work in Go. So the operator future for Kubernetes and this kind of cloud native stuff is 100% Go. That world is dominated by Go, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting. And part of me, I'm having a really hard time right now not putting the brakes on this entire project and finding an operator that does JupyterHub deployment. Because if we find an operator that does JupyterHub deployment, then I don't have to fuck around with any of this other shit. I don't know how customizable it would be, but at that point, if we're gonna actually do our own customization, I just fork the operator and then make the modifications and we're good to go. So can you tell me, does anybody know, I just can't listen to this salary sitting in my country. I learned the Python for things that actually use Python. Yeah. This is for, operators will blow away. Actually, they already are beginning to slowly. I think they are. Apps for City YAML. Absolutely. I think operators are the way to go. They really are. People are like, hey, have you solved that operator, that operator? I mean, it's right. Its writing is on the wall for Python being displaced by Nerd4JS. We know about that. So, question to the audience: yes or no? There is a way to deploy JupyterHub to the enterprise as an operator instead of as a Helm chart. If that's true, I am taking that back to my superiors immediately. Because I do not want to maintain this clusterfuck of a Helm chart forever. It'll work, but once we get it deployed into production, it's going to be everywhere. But if there's already even an alpha version of this that is not a Helm chart, I want to at least consider it. I think it might be a better. The question is there a JupyterHub in Kubernetes operator? And I have not, if there is one, it would be, oh my God, did you just find that? Shit. Namwabnitsuj. I can't say your name. I'm sorry. I'm just calling you Nam. So Nam says, Nam showed us this thing. A data and AI platform hybrid cloud, open data hub, and it's using OpenShift, of course. Kubernetes-based OpenShift container platform, Ceph object storage. And here's the from the Kafka and Kubeflow. Yeah, we're trying to do some Kubeflow deployment here too. Data scientists can create models using Jupyter notebooks and select from popular tools such as TensorFlow, like Apps, PySpark. Fuck. Is this only an open data? This is only an OpenShift thing, right? Oh, I am having a little bit of drama in my heart because I can tell I don't want to talk about it because it's probably internal proprietary information. Contains quite a bit. Open Data Hub. We support it as OpenShift. Yeah, that's what I'm just talking. So without going into details, my extremely large organization with its own Class A IP address, subnet is sort of split right now. There's an area within the company that is strongly pursuing Red Hat and OpenShift and all that, and then there's high performance computing, which is strongly pursuing vanilla Kubernetes, and there's all kinds of internal dynamics that I can't get into because that would definitely be IP. Because how our company is headed and what we're deciding to pick on and everything like that. Yeah, I'm not going to say OpenShift is bad, so I need to keep the conversation at a higher level, but I don't feel like it's a violation of privacy to say that internally our company is pretty conflicted about where we're going to go long term. That's my perception. I know people on my team would not. They may even see this, and they would strongly disagree with that. They would think that there's a very specific direction, and you should start doing that thing and get in line. I don't. From a 10,000 foot view, I don't see that. I see the company kind of going in different directions, exploring different things in this space. It's no proprietary secret to tell you that we're very, very, very data intensive company, which is crazy because if you knew what industry we're in, which I cannot say, you would just not guess it. You would not guess that there's that much data intensity in our company. The cube operator, never heard it before, right? You just Google cube operator. Yeah. So yeah, I feel like, I don't know. We need Argo. See the Argo operator. We deployed Argo already. Yep. I'm gonna. Is there a Kubernetes? Is there a JupyterHub one? They have Jaeger in here. What? Cockroach Helm operator. Ugh. Still Helm anyways. The operator is. The operator just encapsulates the Helm chart, probably, right? The thing of it is, there's just so much JupyterHub Python customization that has to happen that it's not going to be easy to dismiss that. It's not Elasticsearch, etcd. Yeah. Flux. Continuous delivery solution. Only for plain Jupyter. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because, yeah. Yeah, if one, I don't know if I should say anything. I'm going to get myself in trouble. Not any legal trouble or anything, but after going through this JupyterHub deployment, you know what I want to do, right? My first project to really become like a real bona fide CCAD person, I want to write an operator that deploys JupyterHub to the enterprise. That's what I want to do. And if somebody wants to help me do it, I want to take this entire Zero to JupyterHub chart project and take all of its lessons learned and deploy the entire thing as an operator, as an experiment. And then we could, we'll learn from, because we'll already have done the Helm deployment and everything. Yeah. CVR, JHub. There's still going to be JHub. That's not going to go anywhere. But I would really like to encapsulate it as an operator. Now, strictly speaking, want to write an operator and then her JHub, and I was like, oh no, yeah. But I can suggest don't do it right away. Oh hell no, no, because the operator space is kind of settling down right now, right? I think I need to know, be able to write an operator, period. So like the hello world operator. And that's why you see me go coding these days. I'm working on libraries and stuff to keep up on some other stuff that I need to do. But the first significant Kubernetes project is going to be write a Helm operator. I mean, write a Kubernetes operator and go. Like I'll have a lab. It'll be like write your very first simple operator and go and deploy it to your own Minikube Helm chart and do your own testing. That is a skill that is so critical to software development going forward. I'm telling you, being able to write a Helm a Kubernetes operator has got to be one of the top 5 most important developer skills you can have going into 2022 and beyond. I swear, based on all of the movement in the industry, all of the energy behind cloud native, all of the dominance of Kubernetes and OpenShift, and then the idea that all of that is moving away from YAML and configurations and Helm towards operators. You combine all of those things together, and what do you have? The most important tech skill on the software engineering front right now is creating a Kubernetes operator. If you can't do that in 2022, 2020, if you can't, let's put it this way, in 2022, 2023, if you can do that, you can like write your own ticket. Because everybody's going to want to do it. And they haven't settled down on what operator frameworks and not frameworks, but APIs or whatever the standards for the API deployment are. That we're already seeing competition in that space, like we used to see competition in the cloud native space, between, Swarm and Nomad and Kubernetes and stuff. And that's kind of already settled down. But the next place for stuff to settle down is going to be how do we deploy? Because nobody likes YAML and Helm. They don't like it. Nobody. So that's going to go away, and it's probably going to be replaced by operators from what we're hearing today, which means if you don't know how to make an operator, and most of those operators are written in Go, you're fine. You'll have a job if you can even talk about this shit because it's so complicated. But if you can actually deploy an operator, man, that's $1 million skill right there. It really is. I'd be happy to help. Actually, stay tuned because I look, even if it's just a fun we'll just do it on the stream just as a fun exercise, just to learn how to write our first Hello World operator, right? Okay, well now let's do something more significant. Let's make, JupyterHub in Helm, for a single user. Okay, let's port JupyterHub in it. You know what I mean? We could iterate on the idea and then have different learning labs as we're going along. And that's the kind of thing that I would do on Fridays or on the weekend because it doesn't directly relate to my job, but it definitely relates to my job in 2 years. Did I say YAML and not Helm? Yeah, YAML. I like the YAML too. It's 5 minutes ago. Just learned about what operator is. No, I can't. I'm at work. Doppelgangster. I'm sorry. Right now I'm at work. At 12 o'clock. At 12 o'clock we're going to be starting training, and I'm happy to answer questions then, as long as they're related to pushing me forward in my training. When I'm at work, I'm actually being paid for the stuff I'm doing, and this conversation we're having right now is going to directly relate to the business decisions that are coming in my team, based on trends that are happening in the industry. And this is why I think people are stupid to insulate their teams from the outside world. They do. They still do. There's still some conservative companies that say, just talk to the people internally. I'm like, I didn't even know the operators were getting pushed that hard until this live stream just happened. So based on this, I have now more productive information to provide back to my largely insulated team of infrastructure people. And I can say, it's all about operators now. They're headed to blah, blah, blah. And it does make me wonder. Actually, one of the main reasons I paused when you said that OpenShift was leading the charge on this is because the reason I paused is because I was thinking about career positioning. Because as much, I can totally hate OpenShift, or I don't like Podman, I don't like its dependence on systemd, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. If the industry decides that that's the way to go because they're ahead on the operator front, that's going to be very interesting. That's all I'm going to say. It's going to be very interesting. So on operators in the future, I feel like I might have been shamelessly plugging since I work for Red Hat. I don't have any problem if you're working for Red Hat. I have a lot of great friends that work for Red Hat. I'm actually right down the street from you. Yeah, I'm in Mooresville. Yeah, I had Red Hat stock in 2000. Yeah. I seriously consider working for Red Hat, and I lived through all I ran Fedora when I was at IBM. I ran Fedora for 10 years. I've written so many RPMs, I could puke RPM. Make files on RPMs. Oh God. Yeah, because I did nothing but Red Hat. There's a few things in Red Hat that rub me the wrong way, but I've always been able to get over it because I understand enterprise has different needs and concerns and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's like I definitely don't want to burn any bridges with Red Hat because I strongly considered maybe working at Red Hat, but there's just a part of me, I just don't know if I can do it. I just don't know if I could do it. I would really have to swallow, a bunch of stuff that I don't want to swallow by working there, but they really understand enterprise. Can you tell me like operator OpenShift and everything else better be researched later? Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna research that later. I'm not gonna do it right now. But how can I definitely tell Helm is to go for MVP? Yeah. Helm's not going anywhere. Helm was officially, I'm gonna say it again. So last month it was officially announced that if you do not know how to write it, read and write a Helm chart and deploy it, we're going to talk about this at noon, you can't get certified for CCAD. So the Cloud Native Foundation has decided Helm is a must-learn skill for the Kubernetes certified application development. So you can hate Helm all you want. It doesn't matter. It's been standardized. It's been adopted as a standard in the industry, and you have to know it. So, it may be that we learn it and we hate it, and that allows us to build operators next. I have a feeling operators, once they operators haven't been solidified yet. Cloud Native can't say OpenShift operators are the standard. They can't do that because they're Cloud Native. And it's still shitty. Yeah, it is. Just such a break of my progress map for certifications. Yeah. So, but they officially added it, so you have to know it. I don't know to what extent. I think they're just going to have you install Helm charts that don't need any customization, which is going to be so fucking misleading to all the beginners out there, because that is never, ever how a Helm chart goes down. That's just not. You always have to do something else. You have to minimally add constraints in order to be, basically secure with like run as root, OPA gateway policies and stuff. So yeah, it was a lifelong Windows Microsoft.NET guy before coming to Red Hat. So this is, I have to work with everything. Yeah. And I'd say I've said this on the stream many times. I've considered working at Microsoft before. They have people. Jess Frazzle very famously said that she never once coded anything but Go, and she ran a Linux system the whole time she was at Microsoft. So things have changed. There's actually a lot of Microsoft places around here too. So I'm old, so I might keep my options open. I hope I'm alive when 128-bit processor becomes a thing. It is, yeah. Nanotechnology architectures are super interesting. They are pretty cool. RTX Blast. Third-party tools like Helm being mandatory for Cube. I agree. This confused the shit out of me, because that's the first time that Cloud Native has decided that a graduated project was now standardized. Now, you could argue that they did that with Kubernetes, right? It's supposed to be Cloud Native Foundation. That's supposed to be Kubernetes Foundation, right? So Kubernetes is central to the certification now. So they've already, the Cloud Native people, and we actually have people who participate and may be listening right now. If you are, please don't be offended. We have several people on the board who frequently come in here and chime in. And in fact, I think sometimes we may have even indirectly influenced them as a group sometimes. But I think that would be what they would be talking about. Operators can be challenging, especially if you're retrofitting an existing deployment structure to an operator. Yeah. And that's that skill. God damn, that skill that you mentioned, retrofitting an existing thing, a deployment to an operator, that particular skill is going to be worth gold. If O'Reilly says yesterday in their survey, and they come out and they say that Go programmers are making $179K a year average. And if you add to that skill set, being able to retrofit existing enterprise deployments as an operator, that's easy 300K. Easy. That's a 300K job like that. I mean, you're talking about skills that are so top of the line in demand by really high paying enterprise that it's a 200, 300K job easily if you can do that. So I'm just putting it out there. Those are the skills. I do not want to lose my Go programming skills. Go is not officially part of my job right here because I'm more of an ops infrastructure person, and I've been doing a lot of Python, and it's like rubbing me the wrong way. But within my 5-year plan is definitely to be doing Go operator development. Absolutely. And I don't know who I'll be doing it for or where, but I absolutely know that that's my career path. And that's a relevant conversation approaching 12 here, because the half hour, these next 3 hours every Friday are going to be dedicated to my personal career training, and I'm just co-training and co-learning with you, kind of setting forward, what my career path goals are, and focusing on the skills that I need to learn to get there. So yeah, for sure, not less experience in development. It involves really big knowledge of operations to write a good operator. Absolutely. From a point of autopilot operator when scaling to other stuff. Yes, absolutely. That's the thing. That's why operators are like, being able to actually write an operator that doesn't blow the shit up is going to be more important. And this is probably one of the reasons that some CTOs are slow doing it. They'll be slow to adopt the operator thing, because I've seen shitty Helm charts. You don't want people making those Helm charts to be making operators in your stack now. Unless there's like lots of guardrails, you don't want the average Helm chart developer to be suddenly writing operators. And that's probably why it hasn't happened, because they don't want to pay for it. They don't want to pay. There's this huge sickness in sort of the IT CTO level thinking right now. And that is that Kubernetes is, or cloud native somehow is going to stop them from hiring software developers and software engineers and stuff. And so they end up hiring DevOps people and other people like that. And they put them in charge because they don't cost as much. And they think that this Kubernetes magic bullet is going to get them everything they ever dreamed. And they're just going to have to install these packets, and they're going to get all of Kubeflow just by turning a key. It doesn't work like that. That is not how it works. And if you continue to perpetuate this lie, which I blame, then you're going to get fucked. You're going to get fucked because it's not what it is. You have to hire good developers, and you're going to continue to cause problems. So, and they don't, ultimately it boils down to greed and money. They don't want to pay for people that actually deploy software properly, who know how to code, who know how to do all the other things. And this is far beyond the skills required for an SRE. But if you needed to make the case to one of these pointy head CTO types, you'd make the case that, hey, remember when Google said that system administrators are dead and that everybody should learn how to code because you can't be an SRE without it? And now you can't even put system administrator on your resume without being blackballed? Remember when everybody changed system administrator to SRE because Google decided that was the way to do it, even though any decent system administrator worth their salt knew how to code all along? Google just blessed it with their shitty stamp and horrible moniker. So you can use that same argument to propel the truth in front of them, which is it's not just SREs, it's software developers, and we're talking software engineers, because they have to understand. It's just a true engineer title at this point, because now they have to understand multiple components, how they interact with each other. They have to understand the hardware, how it works. They have to understand, the communications and the networking. That's an engineer. That's no longer a developer, right? That's an engineer. And for that type of work, a software engineer is absolutely the appropriate title. Making some shitty React app is not a software engineering job. I'm sorry. It's not. I couldn't resist. Managed to be around when you're here. How's it going, Justin? On YouTube. Kubernetes written in Go, Docker written in Go, Grafana database, etc. also written in Go. Yeah. Truthfully, I believe any language that Kubernetes client package should be an operator. Most common path is just Kubernetes. I agree. I mean, come on. I don't even think an operator is just a pod, right? No, I think it can be done in any language. Isn't it ultimately a container? See, I don't know. I'm going to put this in my list is what the fuck is an operator? Right? How do you write one? My opinion of operators is that they have to be highly efficient, extremely portable, and they're usually, written in Go, but they don't necessarily have to be. But as I understand it, an operator is just something that fulfills an interface, just like anything else in Kubernetes. At the end, this is another thing that I'm finding about Kubernetes. Kubernetes is just a specification for a REST API. It's all it is. It's CRD. Is it a CRD? I think it's a CRD. Yeah. Yeah. Custom resource deployment. Is that right? A single binary without dependencies or a pod. Can you do a pod? Can it be if it can be a pod, then you could deploy operators in Python or whatever. And honestly, it would make sense to do. I'm going to say it. You guys make fun of me, but it would make sense to make the operator for JupyterHub written in Python. because you're already dealing with so much JupyterHub Python code, because all of JupyterHub is written in Python, that you might as well just make the operator in Python too if you can get away with it. An operator is just a container running in a pod somewhere, right? So I'm going to argue, this makes me not want to do it actually, but I'm going to argue that the best operator for JupyterHub should probably be written in Python. Because all of JupyterHub is in Python, all the configurations are in Python. Then you don't have Python, Golang Helm templates, and YAML all mixed together. There's a Python Kubernetes client where it could certainly do that. Yeah, and I absolutely know there is. I use it all the time. Yeah, I've I actually looked through the API just to get the Python stuff to do kubeconfig and stuff. Yeah, it's all there. Python has a great API for Kubernetes. So I would think that that might be something to float by even the JupyterHub Py file. I know, that's what I'm saying. So all the things for this list wasn't nearly long enough. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's fine. Why struggling trying to do it in Go and the software is written in Python? Absolutely, I agree with that. I think another problem. You know what we need to do? We need to get this idea in front of the JupyterHub team. We need to I don't know how, but we need to, if we're going to do this open source wise, we need to start approaching the idea, maybe open an issue in the JupyterHub. If it's not already there, we need to open an issue and say, hey, what does everybody feel about moving towards an operator for this kind of thing, as opposed to a Helm chart? It would be a separate effort entirely, obviously, but I think you could probably rally the troops, the Python programmers around it, to create an operator, not just because they love JupyterHub, but because they might want to learn how to write an operator in Python. And frankly, I should learn how to write an operator in Python and write an operator in Go, because it doesn't matter. It's just a pod, right? You need the Rust team to ask them how to rewrite JHub and Keck. And Go? No. So yeah. You finally got a development job, Justin. Awesome. Glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. You're in on the Python stuff or on the Rust stuff. Yeah, I'm just kind of letting this all sink in. There's a lot to take in. It's probably time for me to take a break. If not, I'm going to lose my voice. I feel like we made a lot of significant ground, with regard to this. I feel like I have a lot to report back, with regard to single user images and the templates. We know about the profile binding, which is super important. That means instead of, I'm kind of going back. So let me just recap. So we've learned that we can alter the template to allow image names. You actually can't do that. So we learned that you can't do that. Cannot alter template to allow image names. We learned that profiles are, images are tightly bound. Images are tightly bound to profiles. So must add profile for additional image. So we have not tested whether we can dynamically add a new profile mapped to an image, but seems unlikely. Must add profile for additional image, and map and bind to it. So that's a huge thing. That was a huge thing. And we found out the custom does. So we found out that the template customization does blow out the profile list. So that the template customization, template changes amount to simply other ways of profile list. That's it. It's not what you think. It's just another way to demonstrate and list the profile list if you want to. There's no way to provide additional values that get sent in or anything like that. That is not built into the template. So those are some huge conclusions. I'll be happy to report that back for work. I'm going to go ahead and save this, and we're going to be shifting gears here at noon, and we're going to be talking more about training and specifically the Kubernetes training as is on the schedule. And that will be the focus for the rest of the day until 3. And I'm going to go for a run and come back and figure out whatever we want to do tonight. Actually, no, tonight at 6, I have I'm going to a gallery show, so it probably will just be till 3 today. All right, so this has been a good day. I mean, I feel like we made a ton of progress in terms of answering very specific questions. I like this, but I don't know if that's going to be doable. This actually could be doable if we start to write the script. So the post-start script is a thing that's coming, and we'll probably be working on that on Monday. If we can, I have one day before the meeting. So I think the more important thing is going to be, another thing we could do is if they have a home directory, they could have a notebook in the home directory and just open it. And if they have that, then they can, that's really what they want. They don't want an image. They want to be able to open their notebooks. So anything in their JupyterHub directory could be opened. And then they could have multiple notebooks in there. The problem with that would be forcing them to put them in a monolith and a Git if they do it that way. Actually, it wouldn't, because they could have a JupyterHub directory and then they could Git pull different notebooks from Git and use that. So this looks like the anticipated way to get them their customizations that they want, which does not necessarily, I mean, they really just want a base image that has all this cool stuff in it that they want. And then so we could have an isolated number of images. I think I'm going to recommend sticking to isolated number of images and staying with the profile list. And I think that's going to get us what we want long term. I'll go stream on YouTube. I'm not a partner, dude. Doppelgangster. Also, pretend you didn't hear that. Happy Friday, Vera. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of kind of stuff on the JupyterHub thing. A lot of fun and conclusions here, Billy, on this. I'm looking forward to sharing with you, but this is the one that I think is the most compelling. The binding of the profile list is a big thing. And I would love to get your input on the operator conversation we had earlier. So that will be fun. Hey, thanks for the subs, Doppelgangster. Appreciate that. And yeah, so I feel like that's good. Let's go ahead and commit that. So status, okay, get pods. Oh, somebody subbed you? That's fine if you're, I just saw your sub notification, so thank you. Okay, so I'll stop saying that when people, I don't like getting called out too, so I probably stop. What? Hype train? Who started the hype train? I don't even know what that is. A hype train. All right, cool. Thank you, Infinite Star Code. Thank you for the contribution. I'm actually gonna pull down this mini cube right now because I don't need it. So I'm just gonna clean it up. It's gonna pull down my mini cube, which I so love. I love that profile list. You have to put lists on there or you don't get it. And we're going to be doing a lot of Minikube later, but I don't want my JupyterHub stuff to be affected by that. So I have a separate cluster for that in Minikube. And that's all in my build script. If you want to see, you can go look at how I set up Minikube to have RBAC rules and the extra thing that have to happen in order for the Helm chart to deploy properly. But we do have the Helm chart deploying locally just fine. And any other changes? So add-a dot. I'm going to go ahead and commit that. And we'll just say, yeah, update for today. There's really nothing interesting here that's not covered in the log. That's why I don't have useful information in my commit messages in this specific repo. Normally I would be very, careful to put something useful there. So git push, if you want to follow along with the work that I've been doing, this video is I'm going to stop the video right now on YouTube. I'm going to click end stream on YouTube, and I will be bringing the stream back up when we do the JupyterHub training. So I'm gonna drop. So the Twitch stream will just continue. Nothing's going to happen there. The title will change, and that's all. So YouTubers, if you're watching, the YouTube stream is going to go away for about 5-10 minutes, and then it'll come back with a notification, and we'll be doing code learning for the next 3 hours. About this kind of thing, and I'm glad that we have Vera and other people joining us. 1.0 hour stream. Oh my gosh, thank you for all of that. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you for that. Oh my God. You guys, I don't think I've only got one hype stream before. I should give myself bits. Can I do that? Just to say I had a hype stream once upon a time. Uh, so with that, I almost don't want to leave while we got the hype cheer. Anonymous cheer increases the 5 bits from the normal 1 bit. I love, you know what? You give me hope every time you show up, Anonymous cheer. I really appreciate you being here. Yeah, 200%. Oh my God. 100% hype train achieved, apparently. We got a hype train in Twitch, so I know you can't see that if you're anywhere else, but that's really great. Thank you for that. I'm really excited by all of this. I cannot tell you how valuable your opinions and input are on this. I had kind of a feeling or a sense that operators were coming, but I didn't have a feeling of to what extent until now. So I'm going to continue on that vein as we go through our training over this afternoon. So let me go ahead and shut down the YouTube stream, change the title, take a quick break, and I'll be back in 5 or 10 minutes. Bye. I'll put some music on.